What is up, everybody? We're going to be starting here in just a minute. I see that YouTube did not like to take me live, so I manually made that thing do what I wanted it to. Welcome to the show. We're going to start this thing off here in just a moment. I got Cree on hand. We're going to be going over Mortem Game Jam. That's right. We're going to go through your questions. We're going to go through everything that you've left us on all the social medias, from Discord to Discord, or even some pros that have stopped by and gave some, I'll say, solicited advice about what you should and shouldn't do in the industry. Apologize for the delay. Don't worry. I'm not going to leave a timer on. I'm actually going to kick this off right away. So, for those who don't know, there was a huge game jam that happened. Baron Durop was kind enough to put together another one this year after he got all the gremlins to repair his ceiling or whatever it is that happened. And we did it later this year than we did the last time. So when we did it last time, I did some game reviews. I found that the community of people who are developing stuff under Shadowdark, and honestly, the people who entered, found having their stuff looked at by more than one person helpful. So I did it. I love it. I've worked as a creative director in numerous fields, and I'm a self-produced person, and I've also worked for companies. So I was like, fuck, I can help people be better at their craft. During that time, I met another gentleman who had very similar intentions, which is like to make people better what they do. You've probably seen Cree in a lot of the Arcane Library chats talking about what to do, how to do things. And honestly, it's always constructive criticism, even if it hurts when you first get it. Remember that by telling each other when we're not doing something right, that's how we get better in this craft. You don't get better from gold stars. I know, contrary to popular belief, they only should be given out when you actually get a gold star. And this guy got a gold star. You got a gold star. What are you going to do with yourself, man? A full-on gold star.
I'm going to buy a beer.
Are you going to buy beer? Well, cheers. Cheers to the beers. Cree, you put some fucking work in on this one, man, in a very short time frame.
This was less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks of work. So it is possible to put out a product in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was 10 days.
Jesus Christ.
Because it took me 3 days to figure out what the fuck to do with those titles.
Look, dude, I'm gonna be real. You got burned the hardest out of everybody, I think. Like, I honestly think that your three things were the fucking hardest out of the... I think I looked through about 40 by the time it was said and done. I did like 9 to 10 live. We did yours the last day. And then I looked through a bunch of them. And I'll tell you what, first off, not enough Metroids in this lineup. Not enough Metroids, not enough Castlevanias.
The only people who got Metroid and Castlevania did not submit.
Oh my god, dude. Enough fucking DuckTales, though. Let me fucking tell you. First off, if there's DuckTales, we should be doing Dragonbane.
Yeah.
Because at least there's ducks in that game.
Well, there's a duck ancestry in Shadowdark from Darcy.
Oh yeah, there is. It's
on the
true.
Shadowdark links.
Yeah,
but
it is.
No one ever uses it. Really?
I didn't know there was one on there. I shouldn't say that. I do know, because like, oh look, Howard the Duck. But I forgot that it was a thing. Yep. Do you, so you got the hardest ones. I don't think anything that I saw was close to it. Did you see anything where you're like, oh man, this guy's getting hosed?
I thought Abresh had a pretty tough run with Sesame Street, McDonald's, and something else.
I don't know. That sounds like paradise to me. As someone who loves Jim Henson and puppets, I would have crushed for that one. Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's a lot of ways you can go with it.
I would have constructs with people trapped inside of them, and your job was to get them all out. I would have reversed the idea of Sesame Street so hard.
Oh, yeah.
It would have been horrifying.
There's lots of ways. It's just, but that one was the one that was like, oh, that's not easy.
Yeah.
Unless you really start pulling away the layers and going back to its core, like little bits.
Do you think, would you have picked different ones? Or now that this is done, are you happy with what you got?
I think that I'm okay with what I had.
Like, okay with it? Would you? Do you have a preferred game?
Metroid.
You would have. You wanted Metroid. Do you know what you would?
Yeah.
Do you know what you would have done with Metroid?
I would have probably made the entire map something that you'd go find something in one section, come back to another section to use the thing that you found in the first section.
Backtracking.
And do a lot of backtracking tricks with it.
You did that in the one that I played online. You had to backtrack a lot with key items from puzzles. I remember. I don't know how much I feel backtracking in TTRPGs, man. Unless it's really long term. Like, I'm okay with it when I'm doing like a mega dungeon. I think it works really good in mega dungeons.
And I think it would have. You would have to use that and maybe the sever your arm to graft something else on to give you power. Like, you could go so many ways.
There's so, dude,
but that's
a benefit in curse styled object that's a fucking blaster. That could have been a wand cannon, something like that.
Just remove your hand because now you're a part Metroid.
Yep, sure.
And then you have abilities. Woo!
Mm-hmm. Yes, I mean it's true. You could have done it that way.
Even just the Metroid aliens would have been good monsters.
The ball, being able to turn into a ball to go through things is like part of your puzzle solving would have been pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
So you went through this, did it in 3 days. You said your first 3 days were fucking difficult. We're only going to go over kind of yours briefly here, and then we'll dive into, like, we have a ton of questions to go over. Like, I know you got a bunch, I have a bunch, so we're going to be going over that more than anything else. Did you find those 5 days? I usually don't write a single thing down. Like, I usually just sit and ponder and maybe take some, like, bullet point notes. But after that, I don't do shit. I just kind of live in it.
Okay, so my first 3 days trying to figure out what to do, I went and played the games. Mm-hmm. And then went and figured out, okay,
you obviously didn't beat the games, you just touched base with them.
I just touched base with them.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, it probably would have been easy to beat football. Come on. You just have to win one game and you're done.
I played that game a lot as a kid, man.
But then for the others, I just started looking at references that I have from other popular media. Like, Let the Right One In is about a child vampire.
Yep. It is.
Okay. So I have Kid Dracula, which is a child vampire. Oh, look, this is an easy transition over. And then that kind of, once those nuggets kind of started connecting, it wasn't writing anything down. It was just, here's the scene that I want to start with. I want to start with, there's a hole in the tavern, everybody goes down, there's a child vampire that screams out, please invite me in, everybody freaks out.
Yep.
And then from there, we can build the crypt underneath afterwards, and it was just start drawing a map.
And horror is your jam, too. So, I mean, that part, I guess that was the one easy thing you got out of it. They gave you a horror game. A goofy, a Joss Whedon level horror game.
It wasn't even a horror game.
You got your Castlevania.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Through spoof.
Through spoof. Yeah, through spoof. Did the other two games, like Snake, did that end up just being like, this is the monsters? Because that seemed to be kind of the goal overall for that, was Snake's the monster. And eating things.
It was really the mushrooms that triggered for me first on that. Was them eating mushrooms, because that gave me the antagonist to the vampire spawns.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. How are you framing that they're all living in the same spot? Like, were the Myconids just taking over the spot, or like
no,
how did that happen?
I thought of it as the mushrooms were going to convert you into something, and so what you're going to do or run into is that the people who had fallen down and survived from the first whole collapse had to have eaten something. They had to eat mushrooms.
I mean, you got to survive.
Yeah. So they were eating mushrooms. They survive on mushrooms. Now I have them capable of being alive, but they're transformed into these kind of ghasts of sorts. And then that's in a cave off to the side. And then the vampire spawns can spin somewhere else. And then they can just kind of clash or avoid each other.
So what finally made it all click for you? Like, when was the point where you're like, I fucking got it? Like, did something have to homogenize for that to happen?
when I was building just laying out the squares for the map of the crypt underground, is when it started clicking into place more and more and more. Because it was like, I'm watching Let the Right One In, I'm watching Interview with a Vampire, because, again, child vampire.
Yep.
And the story is starting to solidify in the background while I'm working on laying out the basic map.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I had the squares for the map and kind of my different moving pieces in terms of mushroom, spore mind, and vampire spawns, everything else just went.
Did you know isometric right away? Because that's a lot of extra work. But it's kind of like art and map together. I think it's one of the best ways to be illustrative when doing cartography, as someone who does a lot of cartography.
Because the football game and Snake were both isometric, it was just one of those, I have to do an isometric map. It is the only thing I can think of right now to tie these two games in. I'm going to start there, and then if I come up with other connections to these two games, I'll add them in as I go. So that's why I was saying, like, the map was kind of the part where it allowed me to think.
Yeah.
It gave me time to kind of really process the other games and figure out how I would add them in. Because I had my two factions. It was like, okay, two factions, football teams, boom.
Yep.
I've got an isometric map. These are connected. Okay, now, can I make a football trap or something?
Can I make field goal rules for scoring XP? Yeah, no, I think those things all kind of come to mind when you do them. Like, I looked at my 3, and I was like, well, I have an idea of what I would do. It took me a couple days. I just knew time wasn't with me. Like, I'm deep into a Kickstarter and doing cartography for companies. I'm sad, though, because I really love doing the last one. Like, I think if you're a designer that wants to work in whatever game system it is, do a game jam or two. There's always ones going on. Even if there's only 10 entry, just sitting down and learning to go from start to finish and that whole scope and scale is paramount to learning how to do this. Like, you can have an idea and you can GM an idea and you can write an idea, but like being able to write an adventure for someone else to GM is a different craft. Like, I don't think a lot of people understand it. I know my first adventure I wrote, I was GMing full time for people. I wrote an adventure and I handed it to somebody. He's like, what the fuck is this, dude? You can't run this. This is unrunnable. And you don't realize it. Like, you just don't know.
And one of the things I did is I added more restrictions on myself. Because I flat out told Baron, I'm going to do color. I'm going to make everybody forget this is black and white.
And you did monochromatic, though, with like a little splashes of green, which you know, and I have talked about this. Yeah. I like the Sin City style of coloring Shadowdark, where it's like just a touch of vibrancy, but not so much that you're fucked.
Yeah, and then the other thing I said is I'm going to make it at least 20 rooms.
That's a lot.
From the get-go.
That's a lot of rooms.
If you do half a page each, that's 10 pages. You have 6 pages to play with.
Is that how you kind of broke it down in your head?
Yep.
So do you... I mean, that's basically just the 5-room dungeon rule, but written out, right? Like, that's kind of the concept for 5-room, isn't it?
A little bit. This is more of, instead of doing a 5 or 10 room dungeon, I didn't have a set number. I just said 20 is, I'm definitely hitting 20. I think there's 21 rooms in this total. But it was when drawing out the map, I was drawing it at 20 rooms. Knowing that this is, I need to fill all 20. I need to put something in all of them. I need treasure in nearly every other dungeon or every other room.
That's how you get experience, like, unless you're given boons to give experience. That was one of my favorite things in all the entries, and I talked about you doing it in yours, is when you write XP and tell a GM this is a place to give XP, part of your job as the adventure designer is to educate the GM on your thought process on what the adventure is supposed to be. If you think XP should be handed out in an area for an item, fucking do it, because otherwise they may hand XP out for random things. Like, I just watched another stream where they were like collecting all the gear and bringing it back to town, like just throwing away rations as they're walking home and just taking weapons and putting them on so when they get back they can hand them in for experience. I was like, you guys, regular weapons aren't worth that much. Now, if you were arming a village to protect itself, I could see you getting some extra experience for that. Like, that makes sense. But bringing daggers home? Do you own a blacksmith shop, my guy?
Just award the XP when they find it.
Yeah.
It solves that problem.
Yeah, it does. But now, I don't think finding a weapon rack should give you XP.
No, I don't either.
And that's those things when you're writing an adventure where you got to say, this doesn't give XP.
I think it's helpful, right?
I think it's a necessity.
So this is... I would agree to the extent of we're still training people with Shadowdark to do it. Like, once you get to the point where it's a little bit more... You have your adventures that are kind of the standard bearers. You can start doing we don't need to explain XP to people. They understand at this point. It's been around for 5 years.
Yeah, it has, but not everybody has been playing it for those 5 years.
Right, I understand that.
And I also think that, okay, so I've been obviously gaming for a long time. I'm old, if it's not evident.
What?
Right, yeah.
No.
A lot of people don't remember XP as rewards or XP as experience, right? Like, gold and treasure as experience. A lot of people don't remember that. I remember it. I remember the advantages to it, and a lot of people hated it. And a lot of us stopped tracking XP as a whole for many years in that 3.0, 3.5, PF1, PF2, 5e. We did milestone experience. I still like milestone for a lot of things.
I've grown past it.
I kind of like if I'm running I think if I was running a cinematic story game, I would do milestone and story beats, right? That makes sense to get better. But I'm not running that in Shadowdark. And that is a difference of system. And I think that gets forgotten by people when they're writing designs. They don't think about tables and what the point of tables are. Because, again, archaic knowledge for a lot of people that seems stupid, that random tables are bad. Like, I just had to teach somebody who came from Vampire why tables are used in a game, what the point of it is. It's to not hold your hand. It's to give ideas and spark ideas and to box in. These are the kind of creatures you find in the area. Like, it makes the story in the table.
We were having to explain it in the Discord earlier today, and I was going,
oh, really?
If you look at my adventure, there are like 3 rooms with monsters already built into them.
Mm-hmm.
The other places you've run into them is all pretty much just random encounter.
Mm-hmm.
The random encounters are structured in such a way to make them competitive with one another.
That's correct.
It's faction 1, faction 2, faction 1 versus faction 2.
Correct.
Etc. Right? And so you need that to amp up tension. Well, combat's an easy way to ramp up tension. You can use everything else to trigger more random encounters. And then at that point, you've got more and more tension building.
Yep.
It's an easy way to use them. And people are like, I want to make sure combat is here. That's fine, but you don't need to put combat in everywhere.
No, I think that anytime you're adding combat into something, you should be adding combat that helps tell your story, move something forward, put stress on the players to make a decision. I mean, the joke, obviously, with my channel and the way I run is the Frank House dilemma. But I believe that you have to provide dilemmas, not too many, but dilemmas for your players to have to make hard choices. That creates drama, and the drama is the story kind of part of the engine. Tables do that. The encounter roles do that. And the thing that people have to get over doing when they write and when they GM, this is a twofer, is you should be telling people, hey, I just want you to know, every 3 rounds, we're rolling to see if there's anything that's going on here. This is the adventure's response to you being here. Having that 3, 2, 1. Yeah, world too. I mean, if you're on a hex-based level, absolutely. But people don't do that. They hide the roles. There's a time and a place to hide a role. I don't think the encounter roles in Shadowdark are those moments. So I'm gonna go over to the table here and pull up the actual one that you did for this. So hold on one sec here. And I actually want to point out 2 things that are in here. And while I'm doing that, I'll ask you a little bit of a question. Do you, after writing this, you've looked through it, you're talking about editing it and doing some improvements. What were the things you saw in hindsight, now that it's been entered, you've won, that you still want to change? Like, what are the things that you want different now that you're like, I've done this? I need two things.
Okay, one, we need to remove all of the video game elements. Right?
Really?
I think the fact that you have to spike the ball on the other side of the trap in order for it to return immediately is kind of corny and just done to meet the football.
Yes, but there's something about the level of camp that gives it. I don't know, man. I think you have to keep both versions if you delete that.
So I plan on keeping the 8-bit around, and so I want to change the bloody orb and the falling platform traps slightly.
Okay.
I want them to both remain kind of very similar, but not necessarily too on the nose about how they are video game traps, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. I think you can take the on the nose away because that was one of the pieces of, and we're going to talk about this later, scope and scale, but that was part of the restrictions and the scope and scale of what you had to do for this competition. So I want to talk tables when you're done. Go ahead.
And then the other thing is just because I did minimal, simple detail on the room keys, I just want to do that to the setup stuff. That's
and like touch them up a little bit.
Touch them up, go, this is what is happening in plain, simple terms. There is a vampire down there, and people, go find them.
Yeah, so we did get a thing in chat here from, let me find this here, Vampire Hunters and have blades is ultra. Okay, no, that's, yes, Star True. Aren't tables there to sit around and play? No, AW, I know you're being a sarcastic person. I know you troll. We're talking about tables in the game, which we're going to talk about right now. Thanks for the lead in, even if you didn't know you were doing it. So you put tables in this. You did some different things that I definitely called out when I was interviewing. I saw it immediately with the mushroom effects. You're like, oh, 1 hit point is number 1. Join the spore mine. That's advantage. That's 2. Little gaminess to it. But that aside, because I was busting your chops on him, the best thing in this entire table is the fucking wooden limbs. 100% gives you a way to kill a fucking vampire. Such a wide, and now you have to deal with that for the rest of that character's life, or leave them there and make another one. To get rid of it?
No, there's one other way built into the game
to stake a vampire. Did I miss it?
It's the wooden platforms that fall.
Oh yeah, you could take the spikes off them. Yeah, it's true too. I mean, in weapons, you can. Everyone's like, "Oh, I don't want to do them." Like, break a spear. Just take the head off.
Yeah, but that's not built into the feature.
That was super fun. The photosynthesis and sunbeam is also fun. Sacrificing 3d8 hit points, someone's dying.
So, at 5th level, because that's what this is built for, 3d8, the average should make, like, everybody should survive for the most.
If you're not injured at all.
Correct.
You're going to be injured by the time you get to the mushrooms.
But what is one of the weaknesses of vampires?
I know where it comes from. I was just like, dude, that is going to suck.
Yeah.
The random
sacrifice yourself to kill a vampire button. Fuck yeah, it's going to suck.
I know you and I have talked countless times about tables and fun ways to do them. We saw Kelsey in, I think it was 6, add the D46 table, which is the first time we've seen that in Shadowdark, where it's a D4 and a D6. Which is obviously homage to the D66 table. I like the 46 better for one singular reason. It's easier to fit that bitch on the page in the font that you want. You don't have to shrink it down, because more Korg, you run into this tiny little fonts when you're going through things. That 4 makes a big difference. But you found a way to make an escalation table.
Yes.
And you added in omens, which I think every GM, even if they don't know they're doing it, when a 2 is rolled, you narratively start thinking about what things are. You said, fuck the narrative part, I'm just going to give you a mechanic for it. Like, these are things to give you story beats based on rolling a 2.
I recently ran Tomb Robbers of the Crystal Frontier again, and he had omens on his. And
on 2s?
Yeah, and I was just like, this is such a great mechanic. Why am I
not
using this in my every game?
Yep. And we all do it too, like with DCs. If someone rolls near a DC, you're kind of explaining it. And then we saw Pathfinder 2nd Edition take the idea of 4 degrees of pass failure by using 10. And that works for their game. Obviously, for Shadowdark, you couldn't do 10. 5 you could do maybe, but not 10. But you then said, I need more. I want something that triggers for you rolling a D8 to get possibly worse stuff. You get a 7 and 8 after you attack the vampire. Now all shit can break loose. Have you got to run this yet for anybody? Or was this a non-play tested submission? Which is fine if it is, because fucking no one had time to play test this.
The only play test was solo.
Oh, you did a solo playthrough? Mm-hmm. I highly recommend doing that for people who haven't. You should always solo play test your shit for sanity's sake. Yeah. Dude, what made you add this 7 to 8? Did you see that somewhere? Does it come from something? Was it your desire to have escalation without having a plus? Like, where did that come from?
I was doing layout and there was a little bit of space, and I was like, I don't want it to be 1d6.
You motherfucker.
Because it's already has a 666 on the front cover.
Right. Oh, I caught that.
So let's do an 8 and an 8.
So do you find when you're doing design work, and I know I do, when you're in layout and you see space, you go, is this positive, negative space to leave? Or should I put something of value here?
I play that game all the time.
Is that where that's what this was? You're like, I have some negative space. And these are tables, so...
It was a little bit of that, and also, how can I really drive home the kind of tragedy component of this? Because I had a friend go have the mom that's in stasis, like, just a voice randomly call out to everybody.
Yeah.
And be like, where's my child? And it's like, oh, already have 6.
Whoops.
I need a 7th for that one. All right.
And you're like, how do I make this work for the escalation? I've always been a fan of escalation, and we even see it in, honestly, the most we see it in Shadowdark is probably in carousing. I was very sad not to see some back page carousing tables. I know that it has to do with the page limits for a lot of people, but dude, I think carousing is one of the strongest RP elements of Shadowdark. Hands down.
Yeah.
And I mean, I put it on the back of Breachers. There's 2 new adventures I'm working on that I'm putting on the back of as well. Because I think carousing should be based on the environment you're in.
Well, ever since she made the change to carousing, so it's got a curse, or a benefit and a...
You could get a curse, yeah. Or just a curse. Yeah, I like the breakdown.
I feel like I want to do that more than just a standard carousing table now. And so I wouldn't put it on a back cover just because I would want more than just 10.
I think it's good for small adventures because it lets you carouse in that adventure, and it lets you gain experience in a specific way to that adventure. If I'm not doing like a 70-plus page adventure, I don't have room to do full tables of benefit and curse. It's a lot of space.
It is, but that's the thing I want to do now.
Yeah, I mean, I think a benefit and curse based on environment would be a really cool supplement. Where you have carousing based on, like, are you in the Arctic? Are you in the city? I think that'd be a really good benefit curse table that maybe someone should work on. You actually had to put some thought into that because you got to do some fun shit. But you put a lot into that. You put all this together, shitty-ass things, and kind of, like, the only thing to close this out, because people can go download it, you put it up to $1, which is cheap as shit. I bought it before we did it on the show. You did the thing that I have been saying for fucking over 2 decades as an art director. Go find people who already have work and design around it. For fuck's sake. Those cost you, what, $7.99 for a pack of fucking pixel art?
For the portraits. And the only reason I did it was just in case I don't have time.
Yeah, but you supported somebody else and what they're doing.
Yeah, but it was
free reign.
And
it was an itch person, too, so it, like, stayed in the ecosystem. And they're perfect. You could even color change them. You just played around the color palette.
Yeah, just used it as my color palette.
Reverse engineering problems when you are a solo designer or even a small team is one of the best things you can do. When we get into like some of these questions in scope and scale, restrictions make you a better creator.
They do.
Like, otherwise, you're just going to be swimming in the deep end of the pool with no floaties the entire time. Like, you're gonna get tired. A little restrictions gives you something to hold on to and gives you direction.
It
and
also
like,
makes
so
you more
nice.
agile.
I 100% agree.
If you can work within restrictions and limitations and figure out ways around problems, you're going to solve them so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going to go, oh, I can't go with the obvious thing now because I don't have the thing to make it happen. So I've got to, I have this thing over here. How do I make this thing work?
Yep. And those who want to look at this, down below, there's a link to all of his stuff. You can go pick up this. I'm going to run this at a convention. I might run it at GaryCon for a bunch of like industry folk because I just want to murder them with a baby vampire.
Dude, get Tyler.
Who's Tyler? Oh, Limithron? Yeah, I could get Tyler there. Well, Limithron guys are usually pretty packed, but we haven't engaged him coming up.
He wanted to run it too. That was why.
I'll text him. I'll ask him if he's interested in doing it. So I got a good connection with them. Drew from my show, Limithron's brother, is Drew, played in my buddy Drew's campaign for years. So, like, it's a small fucking world.
Yeah.
And my Drew, because they're both Andrews, my Drew, I kind of taught the GM, and he moved away. We met back up later in life. Now he's on my shows. And then he moved to California and met the other Drew from the Limithron team. It just it's a small ecosystem. Don't talk shit, people. Don't do it. Because it will come back to you in this industry. Because it's Game of Thrones. It's all incest. Everyone knows everyone. It's so fucking bad. Everyone knows everybody. Don't talk shit. It is. You still watch Game of Thrones. Don't fucking act like that. I didn't want the incest.
I did not.
Oh, well then I'm going to close you off the show for the day. No, I'm just kidding. The first 3 seasons are great. The new series is awesome, but that is a total sidetrack. It's really good.
I was waiting to finish the novels before I watched the show.
Don't. That'll never happen.
Finish.
Listen, bookie. So last thing before we move on to going through some questions is your map, man. I think this is the first full isometric I've seen from you.
Yes.
Was it hard? I find it difficult until you plot it, and once it's plotted, it's so it's again it's the idea of constraints.
It took me. Normally, I can crank out a map in like 3 days.
Right.
This took me nearly a week.
But it's first ISO.
First ISO.
So I'm gonna
well,
teach
no,
you.
Okay, so no, technically it's not because I have been practicing with ISOs recently. This is the first one that's been published. It's definitely the best one. But
there are some tricks.
Yeah, and I figured out a few things while working on this one as a result.
Did you draw this by hand first, or did you do it digital?
Whole thing is by hand.
Okay, so
digital by hand.
Perfect. That's still fine. So you can draw top down and then tilt it and angle it and draw your ISO from there.
I just put in the guidelines.
Don't even
just drew over the guidelines.
Your brain is so fast at drawing top down because you've done it so many times. You can crank out a top down and you just and then you draw all of your perspective guides. It will cut so much time.
Yeah, didn't do that. I went and drew them on the perspective, but it took me a while to wrap my head around having the tavern up top,
multiple levels
coming down, which is why I was like, I need to do this on the perspective for this one.
Yeah, and I work when I do them like the top down and I turn them and tilt them I'm doing it opposite for the audience, but when you turn them and tilt them like this and you're trying to do the ones below, all you're doing is doing another layer and you will lose space. Like you did it right. You put gaps between your floor up top and then your tunnel down below, and you found a way to structurally make that make sense. Yeah. ISO's weird. Stare at a lot of fucking Diablo art because they're masters at it, even if you hate them. They're really good at it. And honestly, right now, I know everybody, No Rest for the Wicked's ISO and the ability to weave levels together is the best I've seen. There is nothing even comparable to it. It's so fucking good.
I was looking at a lot of Path of Exile.
Path of Exile also very good at it. Path of Exile is really good too. I love ISO. And people think you can't play on them, and I agree with Sly Flourish that once you were playing on it, it's not any different. You can still put a token on it and move around just like normal. It doesn't matter. It's fucking the same. Have you printed this to play on it yet?
No.
Dude, print it on like two 11x17s, put that thing on the table, and people will just stare at the art the whole time. It makes such a huge difference. I almost don't want to do flat maps anymore.
I mean, I'll probably put in one of the other changes is putting in a top-down.
Just so you have the structure of it?
So that if you want to use it, like if you're one of those people who thinks you can't play on an ISO, here, you have both. Good job, have them.
I would just challenge him to play on a fucking ISO. Stop it.
No, I'll be a maximalist. I'm okay with that.
Serving says, how have you not been sponsored by No Rest yet? I don't know, and they're all gamers too. I have no idea. I have no rest if you're watching. But the ISO was really good. You did a great job on it, even though you forgot your mushrooms down the tunnel. But everything else is good. I like the locked doors. I saw what you did. I didn't notice them at first. I blew the lock up. But then you even like re-give the omens again. You hyperlink like a champion. The little map icon, golden. It's so good because so many people are playing off tablets. Like, you should be really proud of this. Like, this is one of those entries and one of those pieces. When finished, you should sit back, give it a couple weeks to breathe, go back in and edit it. I think this is a really good piece.
It's my best.
Now, is there extra pages that you want to add to close out this section before we do questions?
So just a little bit in the beginning, and then probably a how to conclude this adventure.
And a back page with some table on it. What would your back table be? What would your table? Because you gotta have one. That's the MO of Shadowdark. You gotta have a table on the back, baby.
No, I'm gonna put the map.
No.
Everybody yelled at me for having the map split across the spread. I'm gonna have the map.
I would do that on the inside cover and not attach the cover.
I mean, that's essentially what the...
But the back, though, what's on the back of the book?
Oh, well, it'll be... No, I don't know. You've never seen the back of one of my books. Hold on.
No, you got one near you? He's gonna cheat. He's gonna cheat. He's gonna go get something and show me the back of the book. What? Okay, that's the cover.
Yeah, this is how I do all of the back. It's that, and then the inside little...
Okay, let me blow you up. What's the back of it again?
It's whatever the art illustration on the cover is. And then it says, go get the other game.
Yeah, I get it. I don't know, man. I like me a table on the back for Shadowdark. I think it's evocative for sales. It immediately gives value on sale. They're like, oh, fuck, this is cool. It's like an ad for gamers.
Right, so I'm going to do that on the inside cover.
Like, a lot of places are saran wrapped. They can't open it if it's ever on a shelf. Or you're at a convention, they're saran wrapped. I'm future proofing it for you as someone who's working like 30 cons a year, man. Trust me.
All right, well then I'll put the mushroom effects on the back.
Anything like that. That would be dope as shit. Or like a new custom table that you didn't get to fit. But
I don't know that I need. There's a need for any other tables. I'd have to think about it.
I don't know. So with that, we're gonna go into the next segment here. We put this out in short notice because I also didn't want to give people too much time to think about this. I wanted everything fresh. I wanted to know what people were thinking, what was bothering them, what they wish they would have done differently. Right? Like that's the thing I wanted. Like, how do I be better at this? So we got a list of questions together. Curated a bunch of them from the Arcane Library, Discord. I have a bunch from all over the place. Reddit, I pulled from everywhere.
Yep.
I'm shaving names off the ones where I didn't get to ask people personally if it's okay to use their name. Because I just don't want someone to get upset because I pulled it from Reddit and they're mad. If you see it and you want to be credited, then fucking hit me up. But the ones from Arcane Library, I mean, I'm okay with saying who they are if you are. Or do you want to just take them more like topics?
I didn't even record everybody's name, so...
Okay, so that's easy. So, do you think any of these should be pulled together, or do you think these are really good as a as a just have the question ready to go and do them individually? Like, do you think any of them pool?
I think a couple of them pool, but they kind of feed into each other as well.
All right. So which one do you want to start with?
Do you want to go with process or how we review game jams?
Boy, I think the process before reviewing makes more sense, right?
Okay.
Like, don't you think knowing how to do the job before we judge your job? Or do you think we judge your job and then tell you how to do it? That's really the question at hand. Am I wrong? I mean, that's a question, right?
I mean, I think how... Yeah, you're right.
Like, that's it. Like, that's just being generic here, but that is the facts. So,
Okay.
Half dozen the other, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so then first one I got that is in that vein.
Mm-hmm.
What type of procedures do you like to use to help you design adventures or dungeons? I.e., rolling on tables in the Shadowdark book or Book of Adventure Design, using Source of Victory's cyclical design or moments design, Kelsey's epic or class-driven design, because she does the make sure you have something for your fighter, your thief, your priest,
right?
To do.
Right, purposeful class design for adventures, right?
Alexandrian's nodes, where he's just like make sure you have 1, 2, 3, or do you just white knuckle it off the top of the dome?
Are we talking about GMing or writing?
Writing.
Okay.
All of these pertain to preparing a game jam entry.
Do you have an answer for this?
I'm gonna expand it out.
I don't think mine's gonna be the same as yours.
I don't use any of those fucking techniques.
Do you have them in the back of your head just as I want to hit some points on here, or is everything you write based around the adventure?
It's based around the adventure.
Okay.
Now, I mean, I'll keep the Kelsey's kind of like class-driven. I'll keep part of that in my head in terms of, all right, I'm going to have a lock. I want to have a way for the thief to use his lockpicks maybe.
Sure.
Or I need to... More, though, the way I look at it is I need to understand what these classes can do so I know how they can solve the problems I'm presenting. And then I need to be able to have a workaround in case they don't have that class.
So...
If I have Oops All Fighters and it requires Knock, the spell, to fucking open the door, Oops All Fighters can't get in.
Yeah,
right?
I get it. I don't disagree. Look, there's a couple things I'm going to say about this that people are probably not going to like. First off, players should be able to adapt to a situation, right? I'm not going to write everything. This isn't my home table. If I'm running a campaign, that's a little different. I'm going to try to curate pieces from that campaign that will fit your character. I will do my damnedest to do that for you. Because I want your character to get to shine. But I don't know what your build of party is going to be when you play one of my published adventures.
Correct.
So I don't think that's fair to do or adjust for, as I don't think it makes any fucking sense to do it. Like, how? How would you do that?
It's literally just the only thing I do in that regard is making sure it's not solvable one way. Is really what it is.
Yeah, we had some Game Jam entries where that was a problem.
Where it was locked behind a certain class. And it's like, oh, you don't have that class. You can't...
Not even just the class thing. You cannot complete said job because you don't have Detect Magic. I saw that a couple of times.
Well, and to me, that's locked behind a class. Right, because it's locked behind wizards.
A wizard or an item or something, yeah. Something that outside of a wizard is going to be very hard to do. So, the thing I value, I would say, like, God, which question was this? I want to read it again to myself. Was this number 1 in the list?
No, it's number 5.
What type of procedures? That one?
Yep.
All right, let me... I'm putting a couple on screen, because the next one I want to do You did
other
the first
thing-
one, was raiding a game jam was the next one. So I'm going to put this here.
Yeah, and so the other aspect of it is, because you mentioned rolling tables. Those are great for running your game at home. But
Agreed.
when you're trying to create a narrative, they're awful. Because you do get that random mixture sometimes that doesn't make sense for what you're trying to accomplish. Right?
Really?
Like,
You think so?
Man, if I roll a freaking giant and I don't have giants in the adventure whatsoever.
Oh, you mean like true random encounter tables. My biggest problem as a kid growing up was random encounter tables were not made for the adventure I was running. I'm not even kidding. It is the reason I stopped running pre-written adventures.
Yeah.
But what I learned, and this is through Mythic Bastion lands, not even Shadowdark. You can make an adventure work around an encounter table if that encounter table is a bunch of points in the sandbox that are important in this area. Like, you can make a great random encounter, and it also makes an adventure replayable, entirely replayable.
Well, and this isn't just random encounters either. This is rolling on tables to generate the adventure to begin with. Right? If I'm writing one, I want to have a story for a location.
Yes, I want a story for location out of love of story, but I also really want to have tables to fall back on for when your players decide to go outside the bounds. Because I also don't run pre-written adventures because I don't like railroading. One of the things that made me happiest about Shadowdark was to see hex crawls come back. And I do believe the best way to run a hex crawl is to not say it's a hex crawl. Just run the fucking game. The hex is for you to guide the adventure, like for me. If your players don't know it's a hex crawl, they won't treat it too much. They won't gamify it as much. Once they've played a few times, it won't happen. I know that's an argument. People say it's a game. But I don't...
It's my argument.
I don't write around classes unless it's a class-specific adventure. I don't write around tables specifically. But I do try to use the tools that are already there teaching a GM and player how to play that system. That is like my number one thing I do. When I step into a system to write for it, I dissect the system, the mechanics, and the way they showcase it to you to make sure that I'm not reteaching you how to play the game you already know how to play, or how the person who designed it already gave you the master class in because it's their fucking game. Now, if it's a bad game, my answer is don't fucking write for it. Like, I'm not going to go write for DBZ. That game from 87, Cat Hub, if you're listening, is fucking garbage. I'm not going to go write for that, right? Like, I don't like the system. But I will write for systems that I enjoy. So my answer to that is I like to write around the things that are there and the things that have been taught to us. That's probably my number one. That would be my thing.
Yeah. And I like to structure my beats within. So, like, Connor has that, like, minor hazard, boss monster, trap, major hazard, treasure. That's the Shadowdark. I'll do that for ideas. But I'm not going to put them in the order of...
Do they think that they come in that order? Is that how it's written to write them?
No, she has you roll them, and then, like, I would assume you're writing it down. Okay, the first thing I rolled was this. Put them in. But
I like it for random generation, but so this is the weird thing about old school role-playing games, because no matter what, this is a new school OSR, is how I see Shadowdark. It's got all the new school mechanics that we've learned through the 5e era, but it has a lot of the old tropes that we remember that actually served purpose that back then, I don't think the designers either got to explain or knew how to explain. I think through usage, we now know what encounters are really for. I think we know what the idea of certain classes and certain races or ancestries, whatever game you're in, having those abilities, why they did that. Instead of people saying it was about racism, it was about making identities for characters and races as classes to make each player feel individual. Because nothing's worse than playing... My big example has always been Shadowrun, where everybody picks the same fucking skills every fucking time. It can do the same fucking thing every fucking time.
That's because everything else was a worse choice.
Right. Yes. Yes. And that's the thing. There's dead skills and dead things. So I think we couldn't explain that stuff back in the 80s and 90s well. We weren't trained on game design. We were building game design. Now everyone's went back and looked at how the people did it back then and are training themselves and training new people. That's kind of my belief on that. So I would roll this stuff. I consider them spark tables. It's the spark an idea.
That's the best I would use them for.
It's a spark an idea. Or if you're new to gaming, those are perfect. It's a great way to build something when you're new. I recommend buying an adventure that you want to run that you can watch a video on from that creator or someone you trust that runs it, because then at least you know what the fuck you're doing for your first time out of the box. But for design work, that's not how I design. I don't design around those things. I design around the idea, or I design around the scope and scale and parameters that are set in front of me. What do we got next?
The one after that is, what is the most common layout mistakes you see or have noticed in jam submissions that detract from usability of an otherwise functional product?
What is
location?
The most common? Where is that on this one so I can put it
It's
on
the sixth one. It's the one right after Source of Victory. It's like
common layout mistake. All right, cool. I just want to put it on screen for people. I didn't do this beforehand because we were still collecting them all.
Yeah.
So let me take us back over to that. You can talk. Go ahead.
What is a mistake you see often that is just an instant aesthetic turnoff, even if it doesn't bother usability? Using the Shadowdark trade dress is an instant turnoff for me.
Holy shit. Really?
Because it is not very
Is it because they told you not to do it?
No, it is because most people aren't writers.
Oh, okay.
That Shadowdark is such a minimalistic trade dress.
I do agree with that.
It is perfect if you are a really good writer.
Well, I also think she said I wasn't a designer doing designer's work. Like, she just started doing it. Like, her wife is a designer or works in marketing or something like that, I believe.
She's an illustrator.
So, I mean, she's got some chops in it, but still layout, again, is different than illustration. We all know this. That's not a dig. That's just a fact. Like, doing layouts different. Like, there's a lot of illustrators that can do illustration, can't do layout. And there's a lot of layout people who can only take the assets you give them and do layout. They're not multi-vocational always. I do think, though, I agree. My thing is, I think you can hearken back to the idea of the trade dress that they're using. Hearken.
Exactly. Do that.
But don't copy.
Don't copy.
And there's a lot of copying.
Because and I understand if it's your first time and you don't know how to do anything, you're trying to use the templates because they're fast. Mm-hmm. That's fine. But for me, you need to write better if you're going to use that template. And most people aren't editing and iterating to make sure that their writing is just as tight as hers.
Yeah, it takes a lot of passes. Remember,
she's a journalist, or was a journalist first. So she's a professional writer for her whole career.
Short, succinct writing.
Right. And that was before she started doing adventures. And she started doing adventures when she was young. Yep. It's
a skill you can learn, though. I do think you can learn it. It's not the 1,000-hour thing. You can learn to write short and succinct. We were talking before the show a little bit. And if you want to practice writing succinct, if you ever watch her videos on making a class, she opens up the class format that she has, and when she's writing, the biggest fight you see her have with herself is fitting the fucking tables. Fitting the column and making sure that what she's trying to say matches the space she has given herself. The format is it fits on this page. If it doesn't, it gets 2, and it better be abilities, and they're next to each other. You're doing a 2-panel, control panel layout. When you're doing these, that's the thing. Try doing that. Master writing in confined space. Like, listen yourself. Like really make sure you're doing that.
If you think about it, a lot of her design choices are based on her writing ability.
Yeah, I think so a lot.
But like, we could have a more advanced class in terms of depth to the classes if she didn't have, like, she said, I can only fit this many words on this page.
She's
have
succinct.
to limit it to this.
I'll tell you, as somebody who gets hired to write for other companies, that is how the job goes. They tell you your word count that you have.
Yeah.
You must fit everything in the word count because they know how many words are on a page with the full page, half page, quarter pages that are going in their layout. They can tell you how many it is. They have the count per page, including your headings. You get a little play space, not enough. An editor's going to cut what they need to fit things. So, like, if you get hired for a job, you're going to be given a word count. And it's mind-boggling. Like, I think my first word count job was when I was, like, 16, working in broadcasting. Like, you only get this many words because of the teleprompter. That's just how this is. You fucking fit it.
Yeah, see, and I had the exact opposite. My first kind of job that wasn't retail was with a publisher, laying out books. I had to make it work regardless. I could not edit. So it was learning layout through having that be the limitation.
Constraints of space.
But also just like, I can't edit their writing.
No, but you can go back. I mean, a lot of times someone gives you 10,000 words and you're like, yo, dude, the layout you guys want right now does not fit these 10,000 words with this many images, font size, margins, all that shit. And you should, I do believe, when you set up your master pages, you roughly know how many pages you want to do. Throw Ipsum in with headings, random headings, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, whatever the fuck you want to put. Throw Ipsum in and figure out if it fits. Then you have an idea going in as someone who's soloing, if you're not used to doing page layout and page count and really wanting to know if something's going to work.
Yep.
The biggest advice I can give you is stop fucking writing and learn that part. Like, you're going to write yourself in a fucking hole. You're going to write 300 pages and go look at printing costs and go, holy shit, this isn't feasible right now. And you're going to have to figure out, like, what cuts, what goes into other books instead of in this book. But if you have a layout in front of you, you know the numbers, you know how many words you can put, reverse engineer it all the way. So, most common mistakes we saw. That was a tangent. Stop using that trade dress. Stop it.
Stop using it.
Make your own. Be inspired by, make your own. If you want to stay to black and white, because there's a lot of people I have seen aren't buying non-black and white Shadowdark stuff because they think it might not be Shadowdark or whatever their thought process is. It's okay to use color. It is okay to use it. I use color in Breachers. You use color in your game jam you just did. All yours have color in them to some point, don't they?
Every single one of them.
Like, it's okay to use color. If you're uncomfortable with color, stick to one. Just highlight if you don't know color theory. You can go to a website, pick a color theory palette that you like, and just fucking run with it. Just be careful on print colors. That's all you got to be worried about if you're going to go to print.
I also understand that color or black and white is cheaper to print. So I get it. Just
that's the real cost. Actually, isn't anymore between the black and white color. It's honestly more binding, page size, shipping, and cover. Those are the big three. Full color books are a nightmare. But you can just have a color page here and there.
If you're not doing print on demand, yes. But most people are doing print on demand.
Yeah, if you're doing POD, black and white, do a color cover, do black and white. Yeah. The other thing I think my big one is people trying to reinvent the wheel before they know how to drive the fucking car.
Yeah.
Write a couple Shadowdark things following the feel of Shadowdark. Stop reinventing the fucking wheel, guys.
If you're not going to use, because I think Shadowdark adventure design is great as an adventure, but terrible as a usability. OSC adventures are fantastic with their usability, not necessarily their adventure design, depending on the adventure.
Right.
Go steal it.
Yeah. The best adventure design in my eyes right now, primarily, probably indie stuff overall, has got because they're willing to like do stuff. I think Free League does some really good adventure design on some things. I think Mary Mushman, like we've talked in the past, their adventure designs are very solid. I think if you want a dungeon crawl where you are doing immersive play, where like you are learning as you play instead of writing backgrounds, most of Ben Milton's stuff from Knave, Questing Beast, his stuff is very good as well. Like
Waking of Willoughby Hall.
Willoughby Hall, yeah, I was just going to say, it's a fantastic idea of how to do a dungeon in a really different way. What else do I not like seeing in submissions and stuff like that?
Okay, so aside from that, what is the instant turnoff? The things that I think are problematic. Organization is incorrect.
100%. The flow of the game, like how you read from front to back in an adventure.
Correct. Not having padding,
yes,
so that things are up against borders.
Look, dude, I don't want your words to have kids.
Using college rule kind of spacing between lines automatic kills me.
Yeah.
Because
waste of space.
But also I'm not editing between your written lines.
Yeah, oh yeah. I didn't even think about that. The purpose of it. The purpose of it is so the edits can go between.
Yeah. But if you look at like your novels and books and magazines, they all use a ratio of 1.4 to 1.6 for the most part. Not 2.
Very rarely.
The
only time you ever see a 2 come in is very special occasions where they are doing like notes from NPCs between GM notes. I've seen them used that way on some pages. Yeah. But again, it is a process to serve purpose. Yes. Not a habit that you haven't kicked. I will say Logan in chat says, I remember doing description for products on a website back when I was still ghostwriting. 50 words to make a product enticing. Yeah, that shit's real, man. Back of a book, you get no space, or dust jackets, the fold-in dust jackets. Yeah. Back when I was doing shit for like novels back in the day, you get no space. Bios, I got so tired of writing people's bios. Horrible.
That's why mine just says I write adventures.
Obituary writing, also difficult. Super hard to do. I should ask Kelsey if she ever had to do obituaries as a journalist. Because almost everybody in that era has had to do them at some point. But yeah, man. Nightmare. Any other things you can think of that we see often? Mistakes we see often. It's just an instant aesthetic turn on. Oh, yeah. Unreadable fonts for body. If you have a slightly unreadable font for headings, like the one you used was a really good 8-bit. It was readable. Besides that one letter also looked like a 3 when they were next to each other. That was just identification. Yeah. I probably would have chopped that and fucking made a custom one just because I would have drove me bonkers.
But I had time.
Yeah, no shit. Unreadable fonts in your body. I will not look at your shit. I won't edit. I will tell you to go put it in another font and please get back to me. Because it's unreadable. I'm not going to suffer through, especially like I've had 100, 200 page books back during the 3.5 era where you'd get it and you're like, what are you doing? Using like a typewriter font, but it's like so sloppy that you can't read anything. There's no flow. There's no visual room to breathe when you use that kind of shit.
Speaking of flow.
Oh, God.
Just letting it go up into the next column and then over to the next page. And no, don't do that.
How many times did you hear me yell about that?
Several.
It's
not. It is something that is perfectly acceptable for any other medium, and even in this one, you can get away with it if you know what you're doing. But it shouldn't be everything. I
don't think you should ever have a paragraph flow from one paragraph. Never from page to page. Get fucked. Not in this medium. Not in this medium.
No page breaks.
When you're doing columns on the same page, and it is, let's say, not mechanical, but it is lore, 100% okay. You can do it. That's fine. It's lore. We're reading it like we would read a book. But as soon as it comes down to a GM, and I believe that every game that is an adventure design, if it doesn't have scannability after I've read it once, you failed.
100%.
If I can't look at it afterwards and go, oh, hey, I know where this was because I read this before, like an icon marking it, a font styling, a call-out box, whatever. But when you break like that, like for monster descriptions, unless that monster's the whole page, and even then, I don't like it. Don't do it. Find a way around. There's always a way. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
You heard it here first. We're anti-DCC.
It sucks because, dude, there's some DCC adventures that are fucking awesome. I just want to relay them out.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to, because I actually enjoy the system. It's fun. I finally got to play it. It's a blast. It's a beer and pretzel good fucking time.
It is a great system. It has great adventures. The layout is a textbook.
And they refuse
the problem
to change
you
it.
have with Draw Steel.
No, my problem with Draw Steel is totally different. You're more talented than that. What the fuck were you thinking?
Okay, this is barely different.
It's so different. I actually, like, drawing it back. Haha, pun intended. If I was being serious about why Draw Steel bothers me, and this is very simple. It actually is the repeating of abilities and how abilities work and having the breakdown of, like, the different levels of success on every single... That repetition is like driving down a corn fucking filled highway to me. I just, like... And I'm off the road. Like, I can't do it. And I know they did it for readability. It's supposed to be easy for everybody. Like, I get that. But I feel like they didn't read their own shit. Like, sit down on the shitter and tell me if your butt's asleep when you're done looking at the book. It's not a fun read. I would get up off the shitter immediately because the book would be closed and it'd be sitting on the dirty clothes pile and I'd be off doing something else. Like, I just can't do it. I can't do it. But yes, I don't like that. I agree. Any other things before we move to the next one?
I think that's basically it. It's fonts, organization, just...
Do you have any tips for picking fonts? I believe in the 3. You only get 3 fonts.
I break that all the time, so I'm not going to use that or say
Okay,
that.
yes, but for a new person learning to do it, you get 3 fonts.
I would say every header and body, you should choose one serif, one sans serif, and then just flip. One is the header, one is the body, and then go back and forth. Doesn't matter which.
Yeah, my 3 is barring cover. Cover gets its own trade dress. Like, that doesn't matter to me. Mine is always heading 1. Headings 1 gets its own font because it's a big font. It's not used commonly. It gets a font. And it also depends on what your heading 1's purpose is within your book. Because everyone's like, oh, that's this. That's not true. The priority markdown isn't always true. I do think that your body font should stay the same all the time unless it is a call-out box or you need that body font to look different. So, like, for example, in yours, you have the monsters on the side. That is obviously a different font, right? In your body font for your monsters in the margins.
It is a different
weight of that font?
Style of that font.
Yeah, it's the same. I mean, it's Noto Sans. Don't fucking lie to me. Like, that's...
No.
You didn't do Noto? All right.
No, I didn't do Noto. It is Coromant Garamond, I believe.
Okay. So you picked one that has, like, bold
I
light.
used the full family.
Yeah, I love family fonts. Oh, my God.
But it had whatever, I forget what the font is, but it has one where it did the ordinals to drop down the numbers so that you could, like...
You should explain what a family font is.
So a family has light, regular, medium, bold, italic, semi-bold, black, or extra bold, whatever. That whole collection of each font is the family, and that all begets typography as a group.
And I mean, the original version that stuff was made is exactly for what we're talking about, where you wanted similarity between the entire fonts within your product, but you needed to have different weights to draw eyes to things and to easily have scannability on a page. It's a newer term, but the goal was body. Oh, here are addendums, notes, footers, headers, but you needed the same family for that shit. But you can't shrink certain fonts within a family down to small and have them be legible. It just doesn't fucking work.
For some of them, yeah.
Especially on textured paper.
And this is why you don't need 3. You could use 2 fonts.
You could. I'm saying you get 3.
Yeah, because I use the same font in the family as header 2. I just use... This is going to be the boldest version of it.
AW just asked, so here, let me take us over to this so I can show yours. I have yours up as a sample. Since you won, we might as well use your shit as a sample. And I can judge you harshly in front of you. I'm joking.
I was there when you were judging it anyway.
By the way, it's very awesome to have someone I can be sarcastic with and doesn't get mad, because I'm obviously joking. Like, I love the work. It's great. But this is a different font at the top for Possessed Armor, right? On page 9.
Correct.
Then you have Dark Monster and Treasure. By the way, best thing, like when we started discussing doing this, I think XP goes at the end. I still believe this. I think it goes there or in the heading just because it's an easy scan.
I haven't decided one way or the other.
I'm going to do it for one and test it. I'm for like Anvil run, I'm 100%.
Part of me doesn't want to put it at the beginning. Part of me thinks it has to go at the end.
No, because they get buried in the body. So like if you have one this long and it's like in one, like say Coffins has one, but stained glass below that doesn't, I want them at the top so that they know the amount of XP that can be found here. And I honestly kind of want little boxes next to them so you can click them. Because I think that'd be dope. But, so you have Possessed as its own. Dark Monster and Body are these are two different fonts, aren't they? The Dark Monster Treasure is a font on its own.
That is JetBrains. I have like 6 fonts, dude.
Right, but I'm saying it's a lack. Someone asked in chat, can you have lore and mechanics using different fonts? So I'm giving the example. So why did you choose to have Dark Monster and Treasure as its own font? I know, but for the audience, what's the reason?
It's because it's a call out.
Okay. So then when you scroll down, when you go to at the end of each orb gauntlet, you have a new font. And that font also has, whoops, I didn't do that. Holy fuck. At the end, you also have a bold and you have underlined in here, but this is all the same font through here.
Correct.
But over here, you've reused your header font because this is a basically a heading 1, which is what you're using for the monster. And this is part of the font family, but a different version of the font.
No, so that actually, the monster, I was wrong. It's a different font.
It is different. I thought so, because it looked real thin. It looked like a light.
Well, it is, but the body is Source Serif Pro. Mm-hmm. And the monsters are Bertold Acadens. Grotesque.
How did you come to the conclusion that that font worked well with your fonts of choice?
I have been looking to use that font for a while.
So you pulled your sweet darling out, that's all it was?
I pulled my sweet darling out, and then when I was playing with it, I noticed that one of its styles drops the numbers down, and that was kind of really what I was looking for. Okay. Because I wanted it to stand out even though I'm going to make it small.
So you definitely tested this. Like, what are the two font sizes here? Do you know offhand? Is this 12?
I have it open.
Is the body 12?
The body is 10.
The body is... No. So the body under Possessed Armor, all that's 10. Mm-hmm. And then is this 8 over here?
That's a 9.
That's a 9. So you went with like just a slightly smaller.
Slightly smaller. And
then you use the margin between to sell that this is an information column in the margin. Like that gutter.
Correct.
The gutter is there. Okay. Mm-hmm. So how many fonts, looking at it since you have it open, did you use? Was it 5? Or is it 4 in a font family? Minus your cover title.
5, 6. There's 6 on just this first page.
So I'm just going to do this really quick. Don't fucking do what he's doing. You don't know how. I mean that lovingly.
There are 3 pixel fonts.
Okay.
Or 2 pixel fonts in this. I've already started making changes, so I have to kind of remember. So the one that is the area description headers, that is a different pixel font than the one that is the monster pixel font.
Okay.
Which is also a different pixel font from the one for the hooks.
Okay, so part of the same group, family of pixels?
They're all different.
Pixel fonts don't usually have a family, actually, because they're considered a dressing font. Or whatever you want to call them. Display fonts, yeah. I always call them window dressing.
And then you've got JetBrains, Source Serif Pro, and Bertold Acadens, and then you have all of the like Mallory's name and the area descriptions and factions, those are fonts as well.
Gotcha.
So you're looking at, that's 7.
And you're saying just in the first page?
Just the first page of area descriptions, you have 6 different fonts.
So, and all of them are served the purpose of scannability.
Mm-hmm.
Just pointing out.
Or flavor.
Yeah,
right?
but that's still scannability, though.
Flavor.
It's flavor, but it's still like, it's a title. It's like when you're looking, you could have not numbered them, so to speak, if you weren't tying it to a map, and you would go, this is a new section I should read. It stands alone by itself.
Yeah.
This is a room, which is important, I think. So back to our question to kind of wrap this one up. No AW, don't do it every other sentence. I mean, you can. I guess you won't be competition to me in any form of sales you're doing, but I wouldn't recommend it, my guy. But I think picking just a couple is the safest way. 3 is what they teach you. You can use more, but if you pick a font, it's got to serve purpose. And most importantly, it needs to play well with the other fonts you've picked. Like, it has to. That's hard.
So that is probably what took the longest. But it's also, I kind of know which fonts work well together.
Just say you're a font whore. Just say it.
I'm a font whore.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Me too.
But also, I kind of know what fonts work well together just from experience.
Yeah.
I've used almost all of these fonts before.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
not many, besides the one, not besides your new baby.
Yeah. I've used almost all of them, not for Shadowdark purposes, but like other projects in general. Yeah. So I'm just familiar.
Yeah. Anything else on this topic that you want to add?
I think that's it.
That's it? Okay. All right. What's the next one?
We handled the column part, and that was the big one.
Yeah.
Column and pages.
What's next?
Next one is...
We should have numbered these in here so you could have talked easier.
Is it good practice given the short time window to set deadlines for certain tasks? For example, art needs to be finished in 5 days, layout in 3, which also leads to when planning your submission, do you plan space ahead for art or not?
So this is a twofold to me. One, this is obviously coming from someone doing a game jam where they're probably doing most of it themselves. I will tell you that solo creation, the project management of it, have it be small or large, is different than if you're working with other people or if you're working with a group that publishes frequently. Those steps are going to be different because the project management flow you need for yourself is what gets your ass through it. And what makes you the most efficient since you're wearing so many hats. Versus with other people knowing the order that things get done. And I always use a house's reference because you have to pour a foundation before you can pull half your electrical. But your plumbing probably has to go in before you pour the slab. Or you need to leave a gap for it. There's planning that happens when you're doing it. Doing layout and doing adventure design similar. I think the space you should play in the most, though, is actually prep and planning. I think people skip it, and that's where you fuck up your scope and scale. So...
We talked about it at the beginning. I spent 3 days just thinking about how to plan this.
Yeah, I would have spent way more. But that's me as a person.
Well, no, so that is... I spent 3 days just thinking, not doing shit.
Yeah, like, just vegging, watching shows, couching it, playing the game, going through it, ingesting.
Yeah. The planning part, I probably, while I was drawing that map, I was planning the entire dungeon, every single step of the way.
I think I do that too, actually. I think I usually draw the dungeon, and I'm known for like writing notes on the page next to it and just kind of like getting ideas together as I'm doing design. However it is you do that for yourself. I've done it with Post-it notes, where I just have Post-it notes every time I have an idea, and I write them and stack them with a room number. I mean, I've shown this before. We're both going to do the same thing, aren't we? Yeah. So, for those who haven't seen this in person, I just showed this off to a group that I ran Anvil Run. So, I have a big-ass one here, and this is the Anvil Run. Right?
Yeah.
Both pages. Now, this one I play tested. Every time I play test one, so if I look at Dirty Deeds, this is Dirty Deeds. But every time I play test it, I put a sheet of paper in here and strap it to it, and I write notes for that playtest session.
It's not a bad idea.
I go through and I look at, I have everything there, and I do a new one. And I put it here. I label the top, what we rolled, what we did, and I play through it and I make notes. Because then I can see where my mistakes are. Because I can compare the notes easily, and they're in the same spot. And I can take that piece of paper out, because I know this so well now. I don't have to have this out to even run it anymore. Like, I have the tables memorized. I've ran Anvil Run, I think, near 20 times now. Prey, the other one I'm working on, I've ran probably 15, because it's a really long adventure. But every time I run, I do this for myself. I just bring a piece of copy paper and a little piece of washi tape, and I tape it to it. And I write on top and take my notes. But as for the planning, yeah, man, I think you should give yourself deadlines. And even if you break them, they keep you accountable.
Make sure your art is the end of your deadlines.
Really? I work the other way.
If your writing isn't there, it doesn't matter what art you have.
Ooh, I don't disagree. So here's why I say that. As a solo person, you're probably not also an artist. It's pretty fair to assess that you probably don't draw. Some of us do. Not all of them do. We have art backgrounds. We are exceptions to the rule, not the rule. Yeah. What you should do is, during those 3 days of thinking, go look for art that inspires you and find art that's cost effective for like $5.99.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to differ.
Okay.
I'm currently laying out...
It's okay to be wrong.
No, I'm going to be 100% right. Fuck this. I'm currently laying out the Sting Batch magazine.
Okay.
Right? We had other people contribute the writing. I didn't have to do anything for that part. Mm-hmm. So that came in. I'm just doing art and layout. Mm-hmm. And the art is all public domain.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times it's going to happen.
So, but the way I can figure out what art fits is I have the writing done. I figure out how to lay it out on the page, and then go here. Okay, I need a piece that fits here.
Yeah, but you're talking from a layout perspective on what would be the not solopreneur. Right. You're talking about a team-based project.
Well, even if I wasn't a team-based project, if I'm doing a game jam and I didn't have any art skills, this is how I would approach it, because that gives me... I get my writing done, so I have the adventure. And then I can add the accent pieces that will help make it look professional and sell it through the art once that's all done and put it together.
Hear me out. Let's look at... I'm going to top down this as a person teaching someone to project manage themselves as solo, not a team base. Yeah. If you're doing this by yourself and you are in a game jam or you want to produce your own product, they're very similar, and you should be giving yourself restrictions on what you want to do. Again, later in the conversation, we're going to go over scope and scale. I believe you should find the things you are the fucking weakest at and plan the shit out of that if you can't find somebody or afford someone else to do it. If writing is what you're good at, and if you're writing an adventure, it better be, because that is your job. If you are a good layout person, you probably should just be doing layout for other people's adventures and getting accolades for being layout. And if you think that's bullshit, good layout artists are fucking rare. They're hard to find. Like right now with the studio I'm working with, that is our number one thing, is finding layout artists, especially multi-vocational that can do art as well, and people who can do art that match the style, whatever the fuck the book is. And I mean like your trade dress, your banners, everything that goes on it, right? I think you work in reverse. I think you go find art that you really like and you can write monsters around. If you need a fucking knoll for what you're doing, go find art, see if you can use that art from that person, and that's time. You could be writing in the background, but you should be finding these pieces, because I guarantee if art is hard for you, layout probably also is.
If it's monsters, I would agree with you. Go get the monster art first, because you can
reverse
monsters.
Yeah.
But if I'm just talking the adventure.
What other art is there in a Shadowdark piece besides a couple splat parts? Unless you have like a class art.
Right. But that's my point, is I'm not putting in art. Monsters are the last thing I'm writing. I'm writing to make sure the adventure fucking works first.
Yeah, usually that is the case. I like really unique monster design. I believe, actually, going back to our previous question, monster design this time around was the weakest shit that I saw.
Oh, I didn't even do any.
Yeah, you were lazy. You were lazy about it.
No, I knew I had 10 days.
Someone said I suck at grammar. That's what Grammarly's for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the person who says use ChatGPT, but it's actually pretty good.
I mean, for grammar checking and like having a teacher that's going to redline your shit if you tell it, do not placate me. And it goes, all right, man. Know an editor. This is something we're going to talk about later too, man. You're going to need an editor eventually. You will. You will. And get an editor that can do your your fluff, your writing, and also understands mechanical editing. They're fucking rare. I think they're more rare than a layout person. Someone who could do mechanic and game system mechanic editing and writing. That guy, that girl, they're fucking rare.
Yeah, so I think the way I'd phrase it is I would have my deadlines for when something had to be done, not necessarily how many days I'm going to devote to the thing, though.
Yeah, the only time you should be putting deadlines by days is if you are hitting things that require them that are outside of your control. People forget you making an adventure, no one knows. So unless yours is like a print deadline, like you are having someone print it for you and they say, I need all this shit by X day, that's going to change. If you are bumping up against Chinese New Year and you're printing out of country, that's going to matter because you're going to get put in queue if you're not in before, right? If you are dealing with an artist and that artist says, I won't be done until X time, you're going to get hit. Also, art takes longer than people think. Maps take longer than people think. Like, you bid when you start, and you may say, like, my goal is 2 weeks, but what actually takes the most time from an artist's perspective is the time of corrections and back and forth. When you're by yourself, you get to make your own corrections. But if you're dealing with another one, that will change your timelines. But everything that is a hard date should be things out of your hands, unless you're working with the studio. Then they're going to give you your deadlines.
Yeah.
And you should be willing to say, I don't know if I can hit that deadline in time because of X. And explain. The project manager may not understand your job 100%. It does happen. There's not PMs that are specialized generalists, as we said earlier, where they understand all the fields. They should know them. Yeah. But they may not understand the depth of what you're doing for one thing. A map isn't a map. Just like writing an adventure isn't the same as the next adventure. So back for the deadlines, they should be based on hard things that you cannot change.
And if you're a solo doing it yourself, I would say get your first draft done.
Yep.
Then go get your art.
Yep.
Then start making your changes based on your art.
Yeah, I mean, if you do your first draft, also, I will tell you, if you work for a company, they don't want you to put it in layout. They want it single column. They want to know if there's a call-out box. You should mark your call-out boxes. You should mark if you want an image in a spot and, like, in your head what you think that image is. It's there for them and you to remember later. You should mark if something is a heading to you, so they know what it is. You can do heading. You can make it a heading, but you don't need to do multi-columns, things like that. If you're doing that for yourself, fine. Do not hand that in to someone who's doing your editing. If you hand me multi-column to edit, I'm going to fucking fly to your house and slap the shit out of you. Do not do that, because it's too hard to edit. Because you run into formatting issues when you are doing that. It's such a bitch, dude. Now, if you're on draft 3 and you're in layout, that's different. Like, if you're into, like, finals and tights and you're in it hardcore, that's different.
At that point, you should be writing.
You should be pretty... Your editing is going to be grammatical things or mechanical things at that point. Or you miss something. Missing things happens. But what I'll tell you is, whatever time you think you're going to do this in, you won't. You will not. It just doesn't... You're going to miss
Not until you have experience.
Even if you have experience, there's still going to be things you're going to have to cut. You're going to have to learn when to cut.
Oh, yeah.
You're good. This was a 16-page adventure. and everybody wanted more pages, right? So I think, I don't know about you, my final is yes, give yourself deadlines. It keeps you accountable. It's okay to miss one if you're by yourself. No one knows what you're doing. The only time deadlines matter is when you're working with someone else or you're trying to get something print, produced, or done. When you work with teams, different conversation.
Yep, and I'm not planning my deadlines according to I need 5 days to work on art. I need 3 days to do this. No, I need to have this done by this day.
There's people who write their novels on the subway in Chicago going back and forth, and that's how that's their only time to write because they have kids at home. So like, I'm not one to tell you what your time frame is, but I do think giving yourself some dates for accountability. It's like going to the gym.
Correct.
You want somebody to hold you accountable for it. What's next?
Okay. The next two are basically general graphic design questions for us, and then it's back to review.
All right, so which one are we looking at? The general question?
The last two are general questions, which is what was a moment in your design journey where you were caught off guard by a reaction or fell short from what you would thought had been a solid product?
Okay.
How did you go forward trying to resolve the disconnect that led to it, and has it changed the process you use to develop projects since then? And then
that's a hard one, actually, because it's very broad.
Okay, so I'm going to say the answer to that is always. There's always that reaction, because when you put in something for a game jam and you're like, this is the best I could have done, and then you get hit with criticism, it's always that I did not get the response I was expecting.
Oh, I don't expect anyone to ever love my work out of the gate.
No, it is. I don't think that you should love it.
You can love your own work. Like, look, dude, I know parents who love their child, but if I had a choice, like that's just the same with your design. Like, you are making this for you. If you're publishing it, you're making it for you and others.
Yeah.
If you're not going to publish it, it doesn't fucking matter what anyone means. Doesn't matter.
I guess for me, it's more of like every time, like I need people to tell me where it is disconnecting.
So so I think an important topic then is constructive criticism.
Yeah.
Like while we're jabbing each other here jokingly, we are both very constructive criticism oriented. We try to make sure that we give solutions to the issues we run into. And I try to be clear when those issues might just be an issue I have. Maybe not an overall design issue, just something where like, I wish it was this way because I am a GM who runs this way. So when I look at these like projects and what happens and how they're made and all that kind of stuff, I don't have a lot of moments where I'm upset by what I'm looking at. I don't have that.
I would say, yeah, that's probably true. I don't think, realistically, I'm being very lenient on the phrase "caught off guard" here to just mean kind of disappointed.
I think the times that happen is, for example, today I have maps to do. I have one map left to do for a gentleman I used to play with. I want to get these done. There's been a lot of back and forth. We're global. We're in 3 different parts of the globe, like no joke. Yeah. I have one left, and it's the hardest one because of just some semantics and some things that are going on. Today, I got up. I was going to get it done this morning, and I woke up 3 hours after I went to bed with my girl coming in telling me that the window to her car was busted out, along with 8 other windows were busted out. Do you know what I didn't fucking plan for today? That. I didn't plan wrapping a window and getting things done. Shit happens, right? You got to give yourself a little leniency. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to take a nap now. I'm not in the headspace to draw. I'm fucking angry. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to get up. I'm going to work on a couple extra pieces for it. I'll go to the stream. I'll eat. I'll do it afterwards. I'm just going to have a later night than normal. It is what it is. So, like, I think when I'm caught off guard is more when it's something outside of my control. I think that's when I'm caught off guard. Or in a team where they're like, it's done. And they give it to you and you're like, dude, this isn't done. Or the scope of the thing changes. I was working on a huge project. We're all excited. We had a full team. Everything's lined up. We went through all of our research. We were interviewing people. The project is a bomb dropped on it and they cancel it.
Yeah, so for me, this most recent game jam, it immediate response that the judges had when reading the first page made me go, oh, I wasn't expecting that. And the only reason for that was because the people who read it for me before I submitted were like, this is the best you've done on this kind of thing. And so...
What was their issue? Do you remember offhand?
It wasn't to the point quick enough for them.
I think that's a judge issue more than anything else.
But it was one of those where it's like, if I'm 3 whiskeys in at a con trying to run this, and I'm like, that is a very specific criticism.
I'm going to say that was probably my boy from fucking Pirate Borg. I'm just guessing.
Yeah. But it was such a specific criticism, and you're talking, we're nitpicking at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so quick.
But it's true, though. When you're running something, I need to know what I'm doing right away.
Right. And but it also came off of the back of Baron setting it up as, this guy was a finalist last year. I'm expecting great things. And when the setup is, I'm expecting greatness, and the first thing right after that is, I was like,
yeah. So
that hurts.
What I tell people about constructive criticism is this. You get a lot of it over the years. Like, I mean...
No, it was literally my ego got kicked.
Like, if you want to go through constructive criticism, let me tell you what, be a stripper. So I did it. It was, you get criticized all the time. And it's not a monkey bar. I'm just going to say that again. I feel like I have to say it every time. It's not a monkey bar. You can't hang from it, knock it off. So I
was gonna go. It's not that big.
Yeah, that is. I was a stripper. Just think for a minute. So, I don't like that. Criticism has been the word we use for judging and helping someone get better in their product, but it is the norm. It is constructive criticism is the artist thing that you're taught, and I don't want to soften the blow. I obviously am not a person who believes in softening that kind of stuff.
No.
But what people have to remember is every time somebody criticizes something, this is you wearing their shoes for a moment. You are learning something that audience, which you are, let's say we are selling to, we are learning what they like. You don't have to like it.
Right. This was literally ego got kicked a little bit.
Right.
I let it get inflated.
But his criticism was a personal piece more than it was adventure design.
Yes, but it also made me think about...
Is he right?
I think the answer to that is yes.
Why do you think yes?
Because if you look at how my area descriptions are written, they are minimalistic, short and simple, here's your detail. And I didn't do it for the setup. And it's not much, it doesn't take a lot of effort, and I can go back and do the same thing.
Real quick, Dredd, I agree. You should go to cons, and I agree with what Serving Hand says. Go to the ones that are local to you. They're not expensive. Go for a day, play games, show up, and just go into the game room and go, who's running a game? Can I play a game? Different topic, but I agree. So, with this in mind, I think the hardest habit to unlearn, one, to not take criticism too hard. Take a breath, walk away, come back.
It's not personal.
And if it is personal, they're attacking you, fuck that person.
It's not criticism.
Fuck that. That's just an attack. But constructive criticism, like when I tell somebody, hey, you have no margins here, like I remember reviewing the really cool, had a bunch of really dope ideas for that like space 8-bit one that was all black with white font. But the gentleman's gaps were like this big. They were like touching and like you couldn't read through it, but there were some really fun ideas in there. He's the one that had the roll your map out and put it down on the table. The grid.
Super Balls.
Yeah, Super Balls. Really great ideas. I think they didn't know the scope of Shadowdark. They even said in the chat later on, well, I don't really know Shadowdark. I just wanted to submit in the game jam. Totally fair. Do you know what? Good for you. You took the time. You finished it. That is more than everybody who entered and didn't finish.
They're going to know Shadowdark now.
Right? You're going to know it. And then you'll decide if you want to run for it or not. Design for it or not. But I think that concept, the hardest thing to learn is like you're going to do things wrong because your perspective is yours alone. And you are building for an audience of people. And it's okay to change rules, but you should know the rules before you're changing them. So get ready to get punched a few times. I have fought for the Z under charisma every time I go to bat. I fight because I believe in it.
I have Baron's approval. It's accepted. Everybody must use it now.
I have, we're going to get into this. We're recording a lot of stuff for Black Ballad. We also talk about the Z with editors and another designer who's like, why the fuck are they doing this? This makes no sense. And then when like it hit layout, the guy went, oh. Because that's where it matters.
You don't notice why it makes sense until you're doing layout.
As soon as you touch layout, you go.
As soon as you do it, you're like...
That meme of the guy with curly hair and glasses, that's exactly what happens.
That was literally what Baron did on the live stream. He just went, I just noticed this, and this is amazing, and I can never undo it. And
it's a truthful thing. And it's a simple thing that we had to untrain because it's a habit of seeing the 6 stats we've seen since first edition. That's a good one for
unlearning a habit.
That's the habit kind of stuff. That's the kind of things that I would say to do. Anything else on this topic before we move to the next one? The next questions. I don't have a real moment.
Oh, yeah. Don't, for hardest concept or habit to unlearn, the other one would be thinking that other lessons in other systems automatically apply in the system.
Ooh. Oh, you mean like having to do skill checks all the time and things like Pathfinder do not apply to Shadowdark.
Or just the math behind Shadowdark and its standardized
Yeah,
DCs.
We just had a discussion on this.
Is very specific, and if you do not understand the math behind it and start using random DCs or whatnot, it kind of breaks the math. Because it is designed to work off of 9, 12, 15, 18, and 20.
It does. We talked about it, and the more I went through, when I went and ran my game on Wednesday, I checked every time I slid a DC instead of adding an advantage or disadvantage. And I find that I slide the DC for smart thinking more than I give advantage or disadvantage. And by slide, I mean stay in the scope of the DCs you were talking, but like if I say, hey, this is going to be a 12, and the person's like, well, I want to do X, Y, and Z, I'm like, that's really smart. I'm going to make this a 9. That is a great idea.
I slide a full step.
That's what I'm saying, a full step. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
The whole step. Yep.
I'll give you 3 because it's less than advantage.
It's less than advantage. It feels more successful for the player.
Yes.
I made the GM change I won. I won this argument. I was successful in bidding my idea. And then if you tell me you have a gear or a tool, I'm probably going to give you advantage. I'm really, like, I don't know about you, I'm super lenient on people using their background smartly to give them advantage, because that's the point of them.
I tend to use it to help me slide.
I've done that too, but if the player is using it, and they mention it before me, I'll give them advantage.
Oh, so I slide, but...
What is the rule in the game? It's advantage, isn't it?
One.
There is.
No. But most of the abilities have like an advantage built into them, so I leave that for the advantage and use background and everything else for sliding.
So we have one that a person's a boyer right now, and they were doing carousing, and they're selling. They were restringing bows to sell during this the Anvil run is what I was running, and they're fixing people's bows before they go in and like upgrading them. And they were a bard on top of that. And I was like, dude, this is such a great combo of things that you're never going to see again.
Here's the thing that you probably...
I don't even have them roll. I was like, you just get it.
In Shadowdark, advantage stacks.
What?
So if you have a disadvantage and advantage, they cancel each other out. But if you have advantage, disadvantage, advantage, you have advantage.
Is that a fact? So it's like Dragonbane?
Kelsey confirmed that.
Oh, so it's Dragonbane. Oh, that's easy. I love that. Man, that makes me like the system even more. I did not know that.
5th edition. Where
when did that get confirmed? That is huge.
She confirmed it a couple weeks ago.
So in Dragonbane, you get boons and banes, and that's how it works, because it's an equal under system. So you're wanting to get extra D20s because you may only have like an 8 in a skill, and you're like, I have to find a way to be smart about this because an 8's really hard to roll on a D20. But if you have 3 of them, way more likely, three boons. That is so good to know that they wash out. that changes some game design for me.
That's what I'm saying.
Does it change game design for you?
For me, no, but that's because I've been using the sliding component more than the advantage.
Right, but I slide. My rules for myself on sliding are very simple. If you give me a really good idea, I will slide the DC. And if you don't give me a good idea, I'm always going one higher. And I tell them, this is going to be difficult. Here's the DC. I'll give you a flat DC. The only time I don't give DCs is if it is a reaction like a save, a roll for like the equivalent to a save. I will not give you that DC unless you've been hit by it before. Because I want you to sweat it and decide if you have to use luck.
That's fair. Yeah, no, see.
And I love to do this line. This is my line. Do you feel comfortable with that number? Even if you made it. Because I want you to think about, I want them to learn the game, and that makes them look through their stuff and what they have. But I slide in really 3 ways. You're playing smart, and I guess I slide when background's involved. That is true. Or if you can change the circumstances around you.
So,
and then advantage goes for tools, abilities, and then when you mention your background, I usually give advantage.
Yeah, so when you noticed it, when I was writing, I don't award advantage or disadvantage for most things. I just, like, if they do this, DC down. If they do this, they automatically find it.
Yep. Automatic finding is also smart. My favorite part was the rug that you had, where if they're walking on it for 2 rounds, you walk on it, you feel the key. Duh!
Yeah.
But that takes that's another one of those putting yourself in your adventure shoes. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to walk around your adventure, like, really think about it. Because I just sit and look at my map and, like, the environments and come up with things that make sense. Because in Shadowdark, if your person asks a question, and it is the question that gives an answer, you should just fucking answer them.
Yep. Man, that's solo playing as well. Just solo playing the adventure helps you come up with some of these things that you may otherwise miss.
Yeah, I think looking at those things, that's the stuff I would say. If somebody has a question in chat, I will hit questions in chat as well. So if you do have a question, make sure you put like a Q before it, or if there's a question iconic, like an emoji, put that there and we'll go through them. Or if you do a super chat, I'll make sure I hit the super chats as well. In my opinion, DC slides are world side. Player adjustments are advantage, disadvantage. Yeah, and as long as you are consistent in the way you GM, in your application, thank you, application of it, that's perfect. It's perfect. Especially if they know. Yeah. Because it lets them play the game. Again, thousands of times at this point in my career, I have said this. Rules are the love language at the table. We are all speaking to play a game.
Yeah, they are.
It's just what it is. Dude, rules are a love language. I need to make that fucking shirt because it's true.
And I mean, I don't disagree.
Yeah. There's like, it's the most eloquent way to say it that I can think of. So, what is our next section here before we go into some scope and scale and tips from the pros?
Most everything else is, what do you value more when rating a game jam submission?
Well, let's do that. Well, let's answer that. Well, these, I think we can kind of rapid fire some of these.
Yep. Game design,
let's do that.
Mechanics or layout and visual graphic design. You have to have something first. I need your game design to be on point before I can even bother with layout and graphic design or anything else. If you don't have a good adventure, it doesn't matter what your layout and graphic design is. That's all there is to it.
How do you determine if something's good? Is it just a vibe check for you?
No, because when I'm reading through it, I'm sitting here going, okay, do I have all of the elements of the adventure that I need to run it? If I don't have that, then, okay, it's already incomplete. If I'm in this room, how am I going to convey this to my player? And then I start running the adventure in my head for my players, and then I just randomly generate numbers or whatever to kind of work through it. But, like, I will basically mentally solo your game or your adventure in order to make sure it functions. Like, there's a couple of the Game Jam submissions where walked in, started reading it, went, oh, this is... If I just throw a rope over the edge here, I have defeated this entire dungeon.
You did tell me about that one that where you're like, I win D&D.
That was stupid. This isn't an adventure then, because it's incomplete. You didn't finish the thinking through the game design aspect of it.
Okay.
Because you shouldn't defeat the dungeon this quickly. There was another where it was like
It's a little bit of a faux pas, to be real.
Yeah, it's all of the monsters are don't move when cold. They're in the ice palace, melting it down. It will run away from you. How is it going to run away? You just sat here and told me they don't move if they're surrounded by ice.
Oh, I did. Was that Ice Climbers?
No, it wasn't Ice Climbers. It was a different game. They had Ice Climbers and they were using ice as the theme for their dungeon.
I see.
Makes sense, but like if you're going to, there needs to be logical consistency between some of the things. So if like if you're saying the monsters don't move when there's ice around and they're in an ice fortress, why are they moving?
Yeah. So for me, the visual design, like, what do you value more in rating a submission? Game design or mechanics and layout or visual? So, look, I'm just going to say the thing that's the most important. It's a package deal, motherfucker. If the package ain't good and the whole thing ain't good, I don't give a shit what any of it is. Like, I know that sounds so negative, but, like, the truth is you're not selling me just words. You're selling me food for my eyes in general. You're selling me something I want to read. You're selling me an adventure that I want to run. You're selling me graphics that don't offend me when I look at them. And I don't mean offensive like titties and murder. I mean offended like, these are horrible. Why would you use these unless they serve purpose? Like, if you're using kid drawings, you better have an imaginary friend in that motherfucker. Like, it needs to make sense, right? If you didn't take the time to put thought into what you're doing and you just generated AI and put it in there, or you bought some flash art that doesn't fit. Like, we all have that friend with a garbage tattoo. They walked into a parlor and went, I'll take the dagger with the heart with my girl's name in the middle. Motherfucker, what?
And see, I'm a little kinder in this respect just because it's Game Jam. I know that I'm going into this knowing that it's not.
No, I don't need, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you got to put thought into it. If you hand me a fucking, you know how many Word documents I read? Do you know how many Word documents doing reviews I have bought on DriveThruRPG that is just a series of fucking tables with no context? I bought Neon Black because that is a term I use for my cyberpunk Detroit Living City shit. Yeah. I bought it, and that piece of shit had fucking nothing in it. It was like $10. Get fucked. That was rude to sell that to me. If I see you at a con, you're buying me a shot. Fuck you. Because you sold me that there's a whole bunch of other stuff in it, and none of it was there. So when I look at a game jam, I want some 8-bittiness for this one, because we're talking about this one. I want some 8-bit. Your layout should feel similar. It should have an idea. It shouldn't look exactly like Shadowdark, but it should be 1 column for purpose or 2 column for purpose. You should be using headings. You should be color coding what you do in a way that makes sense. You should be giving me a cover. And honestly, you should be giving me a back cover. If you don't give me a back cover, you didn't make the fucking product. I'm sorry. It's a submission. You're submitting me something. I know. I docked you. I think you should be giving me these things because this is the point of it. We're trying to simulate a cursed scroll to a point. We're trying to simulate an adventure to a point. This game jam wasn't 8-bit game jam writing. It was 8-bit game jam adventure.
Yeah, I will. Okay, so I'm a little more forgiving in the layout and design because
you should do it though. Don't give me a Word doc.
Yes, you should do something.
It's so easy now. Affinity's fucking free.
Yeah.
Canva's cheap, and there's a free version. And I proved that you can lay out something in Canva and make it look good. Proved it.
I use Infinity.
No, Canva doesn't even have all the extra tools for measurement and shit. I mean, it has it, but it ain't the same. I can't make master pages. It's a different way. My point is, it's 16 pages. You can figure it the fuck out.
Yeah,
30 days, 1 hour a day is 30 hours.
Well, no, it's 3 weeks.
Okay, right? Sorry.
So, yeah. So,
2 hours a day then.
I'm just saying, for me, because it's a game jam, I know it's not meant to, like, I want the game first.
I know.
I still want the layout. I still want that.
I'm just spicy, though. You can't give me a Word doc, dude.
Don't do that.
It happened a lot.
This one opened itself up a little bit.
I don't know. So anyway, I judge all of them equally, but I think the number one thing at the end of the day when I look at it, it has to be playable. End of the day. When I start getting through it, and I had a couple where I was like, I can't review this. Like, I'm at the point to where if I can't think I can run this, even though I see some, like, diamonds in this bitch. If I can't run, I gotta stop. I gotta, when the glaze happens, where I get the cornfields, just the fucking tunnel vision, the Static X Wisconsin Death Trip, I have to stop.
Dude, there were so many that had great ideas.
Oh, dude.
So many.
I will say
creativity is off the chain in this one.
The 8-bit, I think, inspired some shit we never would have saw anywhere else.
Correct.
Because nostalgia hit in, like, the hardest way for a lot of people.
Yeah, dude.
So, what is underestimated skill to nurture by creators wanting to participate in a game jam? Get a thick skin.
The most underrated skill is fucking layout.
I can't. You're not wrong. It's so fucking true. I think almost every question that we have gotten so far is either process, like
layout.
Process, layout, and what was the other one? Process, layout, and like managing it, like managing the project, like as a whole.
Which to me is just process.
The process is what you should have in place. I think everyone should learn the process of anything they want to be good at. That's the number one question I would ask anyone that I'm learning a new skill set. And again, I try to learn a new skill every month, or I continue it to the next month to keep doing it. I'm not fucking around. It's something I was taught when I was young. You should be able to do more than one thing because you never know when you're going to need it. You don't need to be a master, but you should know it, right?
Yeah, and if you should know your limitations as well. Because if you're not this good at something,
you won't fucking know them, if you don't do it.
Yep.
You won't know. So, you can buy art, but you can't buy layout. I mean, you can. Let me give you my rates.
Let me tell you how much I cost.
So I think the most understated though, honestly, I think layout and honestly, I maybe over layout, not working in a silo. Having other people to look at your stuff and talk to, and I mean, you and I bounce ideas off constantly. We'll go 2 weeks, not talk. Then all of a sudden it's like fucking pages of talking. Like, and it's knowing some people that you jam with that you know you can take their criticisms and not get upset, and you know they mean well, and you're trying to make each other better. Find that, nurture that skill.
Yeah, okay, not joking. Underestimated skill to nurture by creators wanting to participate in a jam. Understand how a published adventure is written.
Mm-hmm. That's very different.
Because what you do at your table as a GM is vastly different than the structure of a game that's being published as an adventure for other people.
I mean, I think going back to hurdles, for me, I am a very outline, aftermath, immersive GM. So what I mean by that is I have a bullet point outline. Maybe I have some monsters in front of me. I run the game with those people, and then I take heavy aftermath notes. I like to look at what happened with my ideas and then corral them down into something that is playable again.
I am an improv GM.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. It's improv. Bullet points are improv, let's be real.
I will just have the map.
I'll do with maps.
Yeah, I put my entire outline is the map.
You put notes on your map?
Nope.
I started.
But I'm so visual that I will put the little pictures
and you'll know what it
is, and I'll know exactly what it is. Like if there is a
Maze of the Blue Medusa, man, one of my favorite maps.
Yep.
That's
that kind of thing is
Zach put art in each area and also gave you the map. So you're like, oh, this is the creature. It's just it's on the floor of the map. It's such a fun way. I know people are mad at Zach still. I don't give a shit. As a creative, he's really good. You motherfuckers all listen to Michael Jackson and Kanye West still. It's okay to like the art and not the artist. It's okay. Take a breath.
All you R. Kelly freaks.
Okay, maybe there is a line. So I think that's good. The next one we had was, what is a general framework for taking jam submissions to a published project?
Okay.
Oh, this is broad.
Okay, so we'll
just you got a concise one?
We kind of covered it already when we were talking about things I'm going to do to change mine. But that was within the context of knowing that I am not taking it to published without doing some other things to it, because I plan on making it a bigger project than it is. Okay. So, first, edit. You need to edit it. Again, you need to take the feedback that you got during your reviews and apply it. Then you need to edit. Improve everything else. Add back covers. Add inside covers. Fix your art that is not within your... Like, if you used AI art, get rid of it. Go find your stock art or whatever. Mm-hmm. Because you plan on taking it to publishing. It will be a knock. Draw your own. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care what your moral sentiment is towards generative AI images. The market is spoken. It does not like it.
It doesn't sell. Your point is to sell. Yeah. So I will tell you this. One of my favorite designers right now for that quick concept is look at Vast Grim. Brian is an amazing creative sculptor and artist. He uses photos and does paintovers of photos. And you know what? When I used to do calendars for like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, like professional level airbrush calendars, we took photos of people, we cut stencils out, and we airbrushed off stencils to remake that. Because back in the day, Photoshop wasn't at a level it worked well enough for this. We were still doing it by hand. So you can do art. But honestly, go to ArtStation, find some artists that are unknown, ping them and say, I love your shit, can I use it? Most of them will say yes. Yes. And then if you make money, do not forget them. And pay them. Just give them some cash. Be like, I didn't make a ton, but like, yo, this is dope. Thank you. Or if they're like, yeah, you can use it for $50, then decide for yourself. Do I think my project is worth $50 right now? And be honest. Be like, I don't. $10. Yeah, like I don't have $50 right now. Also, Itch has a lot of artists that bundle good art together that you can use. Rick Hershey has entire libraries of stuff that you can download from DriveThruRPG.
The woman behind Crown of Salt. She just won an Ennie for Crown of Salt. Mm-hmm. She has stock art for monsters that are free. Instagram. It's only like 8. But it's like, that's all you need.
Go to Instagram. There are so many artists that, like, stop curating your social feeds to be a bunch of shit that makes you sad when you wake up. Fucking go look at art that you enjoy, following those people, make a list of them in Instagram, and ping that person. Be like, I'm putting a project together. I'm a nobody. And just be honest. Like, I'm making a new thing. It's my first time. I would love to use this art. It's one of my favorite pieces. Just be real. If they say no, go, I still love you art, keep making great shit, and move the fuck on. There's some merit to what Gary Vee says about just asking people. Like, it's true. It's true. It does get shit done. Anyway, didn't mean to hog the art section, but I have strong opinions on it. I think everybody does right now.
Yeah.
What else would you do after art? What's the next thing?
I mean, between that and editing and layout, that's really what most people are going to do.
I'm going to see. Everyone knows a grammar queen in their life. Find that grammar queen and give them your piece to look over and buy them a beer.
Yep. Or
tea or whatever they want. Like whatever it is. Like find somebody that does that and be like, hey, thank you. And start your credit page immediately. Don't do it at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Start it right away because you will forget people and it won't be on purpose, but you will look like a jackass.
Yeah. It is the second page that I set up in every document I start.
I say it's a second page for a fucking reason. But that would be definitely mine for those. So that's the general submission. What's the difference also with published? Get as many mistakes out of there as you can.
Yeah.
And then I honestly believe you should make it to be printed at some point if it does well, and have printing in mind, because the layout for print versus PDF is different.
Yeah.
And PDF layout is different for a reason. Again, you need to look at those versions and decide where your medium of sale is going to be.
Do you have mine still pulled up?
I do.
Go to the map. I'm going to point, to this point, I'm going to point out a flaw in it.
Let me take us to it. Show me what you're working with.
Because if you look in, aside from the fact that things will be lost in the middle, because it is not
a gutter.
The middle of the book. It's in the gutter. Where is the 4 and the 9 at on the map? They're right there.
Yeah, they fell in they fell in what I like to call the slop. You can't put shit in the slop.
Yeah, so that is something that like I have to edit to take this to print.
I think you could shift the whole thing over a little bit and lose a corner of that, or just shrink it.
Well, and the whole idea was I was just trying to put all of the numbers in the bottom right-hand corner, so it was just at least consistent.
To keep the flow.
So that it's easy to look at and find where the room number is at, because it's always in the bottom right corner. But
I do love the bomb pop colors, though. I said that before, and I stand by it.
Oh, dude,
bomb
I
pop,
had
baby.
a yellow originally. And
no, fuck no. No, dude, the bomb pop colors, hot. There's something about it, man. I remember getting bomb pops and getting like NES games from Toys R Us.
It reminds me
because they were in the reach and cooler. You buy a bomb pop after you bought a game.
Well, maybe this is unique experience for me, but when you would go, did your parents ever take you to games? Or just like even your kid games? Like, did they have oranges and like popsicles and shit during the summer?
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Snow cones, baby. Like all that shit. Ice cream truck. We still have an ice cream truck that travels around our neighborhoods.
Oh, we do too.
And it's someone we all know that has kids. Like, they're not a murderer.
I don't know, but I've never talked to mine.
Oh, ours is like a local. He's really fucking dope. And he does it just because he doesn't want it to die.
I'm sure mine is a local too, but I don't speak Spanish.
Ours is Spanish as well. A girl does. So, what's next here? Is there any other one on that list?
Last one is, what types of elements have you seen most often added into adventures that could have been left on the cutting room floor?
Besides using the same trade dress, which we talked about earlier, do you have any specific? I have some pet peeves.
For me, it's just when I can tell it's your darling.
I'm okay with darlings, actually. Some of my favorite adventures are darlings. I can't actually shit on a darling. I only shit on a darling when you're not okay with other people not liking it. Not everyone likes your kids, man.
Yeah. That's the only thing. Like, for the most part, everybody has...
No, I do. I have one. Stop forcing things that don't belong in an adventure because you really want to do it. And if that's what you mean by darlings, stop forcing it. Stop forcing things that don't fit. If you're doing an undead adventure, but your favorite thing to put in every game is a crocodile, knock it off.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Okay, I have one. And it's not that you shouldn't have it in the game.
I mean, I guess if you theme it right, but you better know how to do it.
But, like, custom mechanics.
Oh.
I need you to understand the mechanics of the system first before you add in new custom mechanics.
You mean every Game Jam entry?
Yes.
I didn't even think about that. Look, we talked about this before the show, and I'm going to gun on it now. I'm fucking full spray. There are... Actually, this is solo cam worthy. There are many amazing mechanics in Shadowdark. One of them being torch timers. None of you motherfuckers use torch timers for anything. You didn't make your own custom version. You didn't make like a water timer because it was Dark Sun. You did nothing with the torch timers. It is like the ideal version of it. I know it's hard for people to wrap their heads around a 1 hour timer on a table. Let me explain why it works if you don't know. And I'm yelling because I'm frustrated. And if you already did it, then know that you're not the target and shove off. Look, dude, it creates suspense and tension when there's a timer running. When your players want to take an action to check the torch, I say, sure. When they go to check the torch, I roll a fucking encounter die for checking the torch. Use the timer. Find new ways to use it. Build it as something monumental. And you don't have to use them all the time. When you're outside, there's fucking moonlight. But when you're in a dungeon crawling around or in the basement of a fucking tavern, use a torch timer. And then make inspirational ways to put their torch out. To fuck with the light, water, wind, I don't know, whatever Captain Planet says that works. Find a way to make those things part of your game, but if you don't tell me the lethality of the area we're in, so I know how often to roll encounters, if you don't tell me where a torch is going to be needed if the area is dim lit or not lit or whatever, as a GM, I can't run your shit. Why aren't you using them? I fucking hate it. Anyway.
I'm going to piggyback on this. If you are going to give me a custom mechanic, replace the torch timer with something
Yes!
better.
Yes!
Because you don't need torches in Shadowdark. You just
have
need
spells.
the tension timer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like, so I ran a Dark Sun cut of it where the timer was your water.
Yeah.
I've also done it to where preservers and defilers affect the timer. Preservers eat the timer, or give the time, and defilers eat the timer when they're casting magic. Just as like 3 quick ways on how to use the timer in a fun, evocative way.
Do you remember going over Coriolis?
Yes.
Okay. One of its things is you get diseased the longer you're in your delves.
Mm-hmm.
That is a torch timer.
It is. It is a drama suspense meter to build. I've even ran a torch timer for a boss where I said we have a 30-minute timer. And that timer, when it goes off, my ability recharges that I used last session. Are you ready? And the party went, what? And I'm like, yes. And I sat it down. And they had to fucking panic about beating this boss before the timer went off. And everyone's like, 30 minutes is a long time. Not in combat, it ain't.
Nope.
They were freaking the fuck out. And the first thing I did, put out their light.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that's something a monster would do. Like, so anyway, I'm not knocking you, Sword. You didn't know. You should have been familiar with the system. You are now familiar with the system. That's what it is. But you did have the 3-hour destruction button. That destruction button, you should have just put a timer down and went, this torch timer is a destruction button. When this is over, boom. Every time you find a way, I'll add time to it. Done. Problem solved. An energy pack goes in. 5 minutes gets added to the timer. I do this all the time with Streamloot cards. Those who've been around for my streams a lot, I have timer Streamloot cards when we do time-based things, like when I did Darkest House. Anyway.
Which, I want to go back also to one underestimated skill.
Of GMing or writing? Or,
writing.
Okay.
Understanding how to determine what level your adventure is for. How many did we see that said level 7, level 5, whatever, and it was really for level 2, level 3. They just didn't know how to do the math.
So, I have a question for you, and this involves everything we've discussed. Do you believe the way that you build encounters in Shadowdark works? Because we've seen the failure of encounter building in almost every fucking generation of games.
So, if you understand that your DCs, 9, 12, 15, 18, are every 2 levels.
Okay.
You know how to plan your traps according their DCs and whatever for obstacles and stuff according to the level that you're going to set it in. If you look at the monster level and do the 1-to-1, it tells you on the 1-to-1 it is for an average difficulty. But as you go up, she lowers the level. It actually makes it easier if you just stick to a flat 1-to-1. So let's say you're level 4, you've got 4 people in the party, it's 16 levels to work with. You use that 16 levels to build your encounter, it will be fine. Like, it's a good balance. You get to level 7, you have 4 people at level 7, it's 28 levels to play with, you put 28 levels in monsters, the balance is fine. Because the monsters have enough attacks versus the players having just like their 1, like that, it kind of balances out in its deadliness.
Yeah, I think that the number 1 and 2 thing to remember when you're doing an adventure and the level of difficulty. There's 3 DCs, your overall difficulty. You and I have talked about, and actually Sly Flourish has recently talked about this because there's a game that does it. 1-page DCs, where the entire page is that DC. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're doing. It's a hard room. It is what it is. We've talked about that concept. There is a game system that does that, which I was not aware of.
Index card.
Yeah, and I was not aware of it because I have not ran it.
That's where it was stolen from.
And I think that's a really good idea. Like, I think, well, stolen's wrong. Homage. Pay homage to. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, let me rephrase. Runehammer helped with building Shadowdark a little bit.
A little bit.
So it's definitely
but they're not doing 1 rooms in Shadowdark though.
No.
That's not.
But normal. That's why you have the standard DCs. It comes from that concept.
Yeah, I do. I definitely see that. So I think it's a good idea. I think having that kind of static DC is a part of your adventure design. If everything overall is an average of 15, that's a harder adventure than not. Right? You're not using 9s and 12s. I also think the damage a monster does is a great indicator of what your shit should be. If you look in the fucking book, it tells you how to scale your damage based on the levels. That's important. The third thing to remember, and this is hard to write, hard to explain even, this style of play doesn't give a shit about your level.
No.
You're allowed to use things that are level. I just use a Remoraz in a level 3 game and they beat it. A Remoraz is level 10. They beat it because I gave them the stakes and the ways to do it. There are ways to build around it. There is no perfect structure. But if you give me an adventure that is doing 4d6 on average, and you say it's levels 1s and 2, you're a fucking liar. Those people are going to get blown apart in every room. That is a gauntlet. That is not a normal adventure. So you got to be careful on how you do this stuff. Remember to balance it. I still think there isn't a single game that does encounter design well. I stand by it because it's too hard. There's too many dials.
There are, and I think the other thing to remember is that the higher level you go, the more you should assume they have tools to handle the problem, so the problem needs to change in its formation.
1 to 3 is your tight level design.
Yeah.
1 to 3 is where you really got to worry about like bodying a person. Because your first level, in Shadowdark, we're specifically talking about Shadowdark right now, you're only getting a hit die plus your con, and only dwarves get an advantage reroll unless you have a house rule. Unless you have some canon that you're doing. After that, it's just the hit die. And you may roll a 1. Like our house rule at our table is the lowest roll in the party gets to reroll. That has always been our canon house rule. Because I'm a brutal GM. Like that's been our house rule. But normal, writing it for publication, you don't get that. Only dwarfs do. So like keep that in mind when you're like throwing damage numbers around and like, oh, this thing's gonna do 2d10. No! Are they level 8?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? So I agree though. I think to put a fucking pin in that one, put the level of the adventure on it. Please stop giving me an adventure, not telling me what level it is in the game jam. Because my brain goes to like, this is a 4 to 5. I roughly know what I should be doing. And are your monsters, encounters, traps, and situations reflective of your scope and scale?
Yeah, there were a lot.
Shadowdark does an okay job. I think the best actually thinking is Weird Wizard and probably Shadow the Demon Lord. Because the way those are built, they're built for level segments. The adventures are. So, and I know Kelsey took some inspiration from that.
Yep.
Is that all the audience questions before chat?
That was all the ones I had, yes.
All right. I have two that come from... I have way more than two, but we've answered a lot doing this other stuff, so I'm not going to ask them. But we had one from Reddit, and this was a good one. How do you know when being a adventure designer is not for you? How do you know when? Even if you love it, how do you know when it is not for you?
When you get no traction, might be one. No, I think...
I don't know, man. Traction can take years.
I think if you're getting feedback and you haven't learned lessons from it, you should give up.
Okay.
But I'm also of the mindset that it doesn't really matter if it's for you or not. If you love doing it, just keep doing it. Who cares?
I only agree with that partially. I think that maybe, hear me out, when Serving Hand says when you can't finish the adventure.
Shut up! I can't use that.
Bro, that is fucking great. Apropos. I think for me, you know when it's not for you. There's two things that would happen. Because I went through this phase. One, you don't enjoy doing it anymore. I know you said, but you still enjoy. But if you don't enjoy it, it's not for you right now. Maybe it can change. I also think maybe the design aspect isn't where you excel at. I tell you, I try to learn a new skill every month. Maybe the mechanics and the writing the adventure isn't your acceleration. Maybe you are a statistician and you're really good at making monsters and they fucking sing. Good monster design is difficult. A good monster is like rare. We had one last year from a gentleman who entered again this year that had the coin golem. That was the gem golem that like piggybacks. It's like it makes your treasure into a golem and it like hitchhikes with you and shit. It was a great design. I really enjoyed that one a lot, and I flexed that one a lot over the years. I think the second thing though is maybe you're just in the wrong part of the TTRPG field. Maybe you excel somewhere else. Some people are great GMs and can't write. Some people are great writers, but they can't fucking GM to save their life. I actually know more of the second one.
This may not be your system.
Or
Maybe you're trying to write adventures for the wrong system. Like
yeah, that's so true.
GM,
that's so true.
You're trying to write scenes like Bob Worldbuilder.
Writing an adventure for Blades in the Dark is 1,000 times different than writing for Shadowdark.
Well,
Blades in the Dark is not the same system.
Daggerheart is different.
100%. Well, and that's a weird one because it's a crunchy mix. Like, yep. I explain Daggerheart as crunchy peanut butter.
I mean, that makes sense. I get it once you say it.
It's crunchy peanut butter.
It's
like,
not
look,
for
dude,
me.
it's got crunch for everybody, but it may not be for you.
Yeah, it's not.
You may not like crunchy. You might like peanut butter, but you don't like crunchy peanut butter. You see the aspects you love, but you don't want to dig the nuts out.
Man, and see, I like crunchy peanut butter. There are certain mechanics that I just don't like the way they feel.
Yeah, I will tell you personally, I am going to be 10 episodes in on the show I'm running on Mondays. I think I'm in 36 or 37 that I've ran. Things did not click, which is rare for me. Hard. Like, they clicked in the beginning, and then I hit some really bad hurdles, and they were different than yours. Mine was fear generation, because I didn't realize that I was having to make encounters like a goddamn miniature game. I fucking hate that part. But I found a way to strip that away, and I don't have to do that anymore. I found a way to make it fun for me. So there's a lot of love I have for it. I hope the new books really improve it. But again, that might not be the system for you. Maybe you need to find a system you really like writing for.
Yeah, see, and I I have two.
I'm not going to write for Draw Steel.
Me either. Not because I don't like the system. I think it's a great system. I just don't want to put that much effort into writing.
I mean,
because it requires so much in the monster stat blocks, and I just find the monster stat blocks the most boring part.
I like evocative monsters. I don't need large stat blocks for evocative monsters.
Yes, that is me.
There's some hard things on there. The second one that we had, my notes. The other one was how do you find a publisher?
No, I am the publisher, so no idea.
So, look, that's a good question. I don't think you can find a publisher all the time. Unless you're already working at a company that publishes, doing other work for them as a layout person or something else. I don't think you get to find a publisher a lot of times. You need to usually do work for that publisher to show your value and that you are, this sounds dumb, but trustworthy, complete a project, and are a person of your word. When you can prove those things, you can usually go, hey, I have this idea for a small adventure. Can we do this? And they'll go, yeah, why not? And especially if you come to them with an idea, stop. Write it out. Give them the actual adventure that you want to do, at least in a pretty solid Word doc format, because it's acceptable for this. And once you put that out, talk to them. If they're like, you know what, I see some things in it. Here's some issues that I have. Can we fix these things? You can get a publisher that way, but you have to do work for them first a lot of times. Or you take the harder road, which is doing it yourself, putting it out, building traction, entering game jams, doing things to get your name out there. That is the hard road. That is hard mode. That is the hardest of mode. That is Diablo, dying, level 1, do it again. Over. And I can't say it enough because we don't have enough time. Like, that's how much you're going to fail. Soloing is hard. You can learn from other people if you know how to listen. If you don't know how to listen, I hope you have a helmet. Because you're going to be hitting your head on every wall.
Yep.
So those are the only two from public that I think we didn't cover today. Before we do any scope or scale or tips from the pros, in scope and scale, I don't think it's going to be that large now. We're going to be kind of encapsulating everything we talked about. Is there anything else that you think people didn't ask? The same question I asked the pros. Is there anything you wish you would have asked earlier in your creative career?
Oh, creative career is different than...
No, it's not. It's all related.
No. For me, it's different than adventure design, right? Because I started out creative career building websites for...
Sure.
And book covers for authors.
Sure. But that still correlates to what you do now. You wouldn't be able to do layout unless you did that shit.
No, it's the only reason I fly and make layout work really well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the question just how do I do it? Or where are the resources that I need to learn from? I think that is the question that no one asks.
Where you find the resources?
Mm-hmm. And because, there's a lot of material out there for adventure design, right?
Ooh, I already know where this is going. There's...
I'm not naming names.
I'll say it. There's a lot of bad adventure design out there. And there's a lot of people giving shit fuck information that is just not good. You guys, anyone who's here knows that this is how I'm going to speak anyway. I think, one, you should jive with the person. Wherever you're reading, whoever's talking to you, whatever you're watching, needs to click. You ever been in school and the teacher just didn't teach in a way that you jived with? Well, then stop fucking watching that. Don't watch that. Go find... If I'm not the person who teaches you well, because I yell and swear, and you don't like that I wear hats that say party like you're an MKE, whatever the fuck your reason is for the day. Go find someone who does help you learn. I may not be your teacher. Cree may not be your teacher. Find the teacher. Two,
I'm a terrible teacher.
Two, make sure, though, that they're teaching you the right things. Look at their products. If you love their products, you enjoy their products, you can learn from them. Because Korea, I know who we're talking about and the people we're talking about in the background. I don't think people love those products. I think they buy them because there's a plethora of them. And they are, and I've said this on Cypher, collectors. They want everything that comes out for Shadowdark, if it's good or bad.
I
have some of those products.
I think mediocre products with good art sells to collectors very well.
I think great art sells to collectors. I think the price point of some of the Shadowdark stuff, because for some reason people think because it's black and white it should cost less. You can go fuck yourself. I don't agree with that. The idea that color art is so expensive and so hard to do. The only thing that's expensive is the print process. And an artist doing color, if they know they're doing color out of the gate, and they're a color artist, honestly, I know color artists that can't do black and white.
Yeah.
They don't know how. That's not, they weren't trained. They weren't doing scratchboard as a fucking 16-year-old kid with your mom yelling at you that you need to vacuum up your mess.
Or working in pen and ink.
Yeah, I mean, that's
brushes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they just don't know it. So I think that if you find someone that inspires you as a person, don't look at their sales numbers. Don't look at their numbers they're making. Look at the journey. And most of all, if you don't jive with what they make, that is not the person you should be learning from. Don't do that. Don't learn from that person.
And there's a couple of people, like, at least go look and see why something is universal.
I agree.
Or universally loved. Go look at it and study it. Like, reverse engineering is the easiest thing to do in terms of teaching yourself.
It's a starting
how to do something. Because it doesn't, you're not doing it blind. You're going and you have the material. It's already set up. Run that game, that adventure.
Yep.
And then what made it work for you? What didn't make it work for you?
Yeah.
And then once you start asking those two questions, you'll start pulling it apart and figuring out how to write it for yourself.
And see, Dredd said something I disagree with, but I get what he's saying. I'm always going to love MTG, even though going downhill lately. Well, first off, you love the concept of MTG. You already have identified the problem and went downhill now. Look at the shit in the past that you like. I guarantee the designers back then are not the designers now. Go look at them. Find what you like from those designs. And then you need to separate, is it just nostalgia?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you actually like the system? There's a lot of amazing things that came out of Magic the Gathering. There's a lot of things that are amazing that come out of D&D. There's still good things that come out of D&D.
Oh, what was the...
Not liking a company is different, though. I'm saying people are teaching, like, Skillshare is your best friend. If you don't have Skillshare, go get it. Learn to do stuff. YouTube series on how to use Infinity version 3 right now. Fucking learn it. So now use it. It does 3 things in one.
It would be my recommendation for everybody who just completed the Game Jam. Don't worry. If you're not updating yours, go make another game.
Yeah, leave it. There's there's nothing wrong with leaving a game behind. Like, they're not actually kids. It's okay. You don't have to keep them.
Let it die.
Let it die. If you hate it so much, take it off your itch. Who gives a shit? Hide it. And then if you get the urge when you become a master designer, you're like, I'm going to go back and fix this motherfucker. Then do it.
That was me with Escaping Bensonin.
Yeah, and it happens. Sometimes you get that itch where you're like, you know what, I'm a better designer and I love my ideas that were here, but I couldn't eloquently put them to page. That happens. That's just learning. It's okay to learn. So we want to talk about scope and scale. And you brought this up, and I vehemently agree with you. And I don't even think it's Game Jam only. I think it is production overall. But the problem was we were getting a lot of, like, 101 level questions. Like, very new, wanting to learn how to do this. And that makes sense. Game Jams are filled with people who are just doing it, just learning. And we want to make sure we're answering people asking questions, because that's the point. But we are also doing this and need to have fun, and I think the scope and scale question is important to us. So do you have something to say about scope and scale and why you need it while I grab a beer? Because I already know this stuff because we've talked about it. Tell people what scope and scale is. I'm gonna grab a beer. You got like 60 seconds.
To answer your question, Connor, instead of doing what he told me to do, how do you approach an artist is you kind of just email them and go, hey, I have a project. This is the size constraint it is. This is the art that I'm looking for. So you want to give them a prompt. How much is your rate for that? And then, because like if you tell them it's an A5 half page, they're going to understand I don't need to make this at A3 sizes for them because it won't scale down perfectly. And that it will help them help you, right? And it's just, at that point, you just kind of go back and forth talking. So that's the answer to that. Scope of your project. The only reason he's bringing it up is because I brought it up in the entry I wrote. And it is basically, when you have a limited amount of time, you need to know how much you can get away with doing when you're writing out or preparing your adventure for publication. And that requires knowing both yourself and what is necessary components of the adventure. And that will help you determine the scope. Like if you don't know that you can process everything within a week or two, then you can't go big, right? Like if I know I can do 20 rooms, dungeon rooms, and a dungeon crawl dungeon because I know what my experience level is. So that's part of the scope, is understanding how far good you are. But it also means, do you have time to playtest? If you don't have time to playtest, you can't really know how your mechanics are going to work. Like I had a problem with one of the Game Jam entries, new mechanics for something, and I just pointed it out. Hey, look, this doesn't really work. You didn't tell me what anything is. You set your DCs all over the place, so I can't figure it out based on what you have. This is something playtesting would have solved.
Yeah.
And that's part of your scope, is understanding how much you can do in the time frame that you have to do it. Now that Eric is back.
Did you give your full scope and scale?
I just did the scope because I also answered Connor's question about how to commission an artist.
Oh, okay. Do you, in relation to this game jam, before we relate to publication, and by publication I mean putting out a product for others to see that can either download for free or buy. I'm not talking, like, if we ever do a marketing and branding one, I have a ton of things to talk about. That is 1,000%, like, my favorite part is making something look so awesome that you just pick it up and go, yes. Scope and scale is different, though. And I think where it gets missed in Game Jam is they go all over the place with scope and scale. When really scope and scale is about narrowing.
Correct. So, like, when we were talking in the beginning, I was saying I added additional constraints on myself to kind of help me focus what I was going to work on.
What made you do that? Like, what previous experience made you realize that you needed constraints? Because something caused that. It wasn't like you just went, you know what, fuck it, I'll make it harder. Like, no one does that unless there's a reason. Or you're a masochist.
So I'm a masochist.
I mean...
no, it was last year during the Game Jam. I did 8 rooms, and it was... I struggled to get the adventure cohesive until the last minute, and then I cranked out the 8 in like a couple of days. So I knew, for me, Once I figure out the thing, I can crank dungeon design, everything out, or the room descriptions, everything else out pretty quickly.
Right. Someone said abort your darlings, which is hilarious.
Yeah. But when it's for this one, I knew I only had 2 weeks to work on it. I had real life that was going to kick in after that 2 weeks, so I wasn't going to have the 3rd week to work on it. So it's like, I have to put limitations in place. We're just going to go as basic as possible. We're going to do a proper dungeon crawl. We're going to nail this as hard as I possibly can. 8 rooms isn't good enough for a dungeon crawl, so I need to do...
Not a crawl. That's a house tour.
Yeah, so I need at least 20 rooms, right? Like, I just started going through the list, and it was basically... My goal is to write a complete adventure that is a dungeon crawl from beginning to end within 2 weeks. Can I do it?
Do you think that basically created, and this is my belief, but an outline for you to start to take that skeleton and flesh it out? Because that's what constraints are to me. They're just the skeleton.
But they narrowed the scope of everything I could work on, too.
Yeah, I mean, is it a humanoid with 2 arms and 2 legs, or does it got 4? You know, like you...
Yeah.
What do you get to do?
Well, because by saying it's a dungeon crawl, I automatically eliminated creating any mechanics for myself. Beyond what you would need to complete a trap or a special monster or whatever. I mean, no new mechanics in terms of gameplay mechanics. No new game modes. No new... Like, all of those little darling kind of things that a lot of people do that you need to playtest... out the window.
Well, you had to. I do think you should have put a torch timer in there. I will say you did let us know if things were like dim light or not. That's fucking important. Before
torch timer.
It is though, because you're telling them if they're going to need light or not.
Yeah.
If you need to activate it, you're giving the GM the note. Yeah. I will say this: we talked before the show about making beer, about beer styles and like what we drink, and you have Drecker there. So I went downstairs and got a new beer. And it wasn't to prove a point, but I can definitely do this. The hardest beer to make is a Pilsner. Because you're limited, and the resource you need is water that really makes a difference. You can talk about all the other things you grow and everything else. I taught beer for years. When you start getting into these complex beers, multi-ingredient beers, you get to do crazy shit. I am drinking one from Oso Brewing, which is out here, called Fruit Fluff IPA. Ale made with marshmallow and natural flavors added. Seldom constrained, always unique, often wacky, sometimes offensive. That is the top. So this is the art for this wonderful little fucking psychotic beer.
Yeah.
Right?
That's cute.
It's not good. It's okay. It's got a fun nose, but it smells like I found a way to take wacky taffy and turn that shit into an IPA. It's got like the marshmallow chew in it without the chew. Here's my point. By stripping down everything you did and making scope and scale, you said I'm making a Pilsner, aka I am making a dungeon crawl. Scope and scale gives you the sandbox and the skeleton to play in. With the fuck out it, if you don't have it, you're going to get lost. You're not a Minotaur, man. You can't run the labyrinth. Like, you're gonna get lost. I think scope and scale to me comes back to, I'm gonna go back to like my roots. It comes back to like Iron GM. When I was doing Iron GM, the way it worked is you showed up, you knew you were playing 3-0 as the system unless you offered to your party, and everyone at that table unanimously said, oh yeah, I'll play Shadowdark. All 5 or 6 people you have said, I'll play Shadowdark. And then they gave you 3 ingredients that you didn't know. The table judged you on those ingredients, and you gave them 3 ingredients so that you could sort of curtail the adventure, but you couldn't talk to them for 1 hour while they made their characters. I'm having people make Shadowdark characters who have never played the fucking game before. And I'm still winning. Because I'm putting constraints in place by doing certain things. I knew, just like Steve Helt knew, he would use every single ingredient from the previous years. And he would tell people, this is from year 1, this is from year 2, because he was impressing the people by putting constraints, but really what he was doing is making his job easier. It makes it easier when you know what you have to do. If I tell you square block goes in square hole, you know your job. But if I tell you to make the box with the holes, you need to know the holes. Like, scope and scale. It is the project.
Well, and the way I look at this is like Japanese craftsmanship. If I want to get better at writing adventures and dungeon crawls specifically, I need to at least figure out how to do it. And I'm going to strip away everything except for the core pieces of it so I can work on that.
Yeah, my buddy out here does Japanese woodworking, and I've watched Danny do some fucking amazing things. Like, bro, the things you are or aren't allowed to do are wild. He's like, yeah, but I know I have to do these things. That is Japanese craftsmanship.
Yeah, it's whiskey, right? It's water, it's peat, it's the processes, everything for making, and it takes time because you have to let it age, right? So it's the same thing. If you want to be better at this, narrow the scope. You don't need a starting town. You don't need hex crawls, as Connor was saying. You don't need new mechanics. You don't need all this. Focus on the thing that is the adventure. That's what we want. But realistically, I know Baron says you can offer anything. Classes, Shadowdark tables. No one's doing that. Everybody's doing the adventure.
I mean,
3 years in, it's always adventures. Like
I offered a Lancer year one, baby.
Yeah, well, and we had the Hammermancer from Cameron year one.
But that was a different game jam, though.
And last year's game jam, I offered the Papermaster,
and
the Calligrapher.
But no one did it this year. I think because, and we also had less entries. Because I think when 8-bit was part of the scope and scale, because it is. The scope and scale is literally 8-bit Shadowdark. That's the scope and scale, making adventures in the middle. I think it scared people.
Yeah, because we had just as many people enter.
Only 60 made it in, or whatever it was.
But only 60 submitted. 61 submitted.
So there are a few things that I would say when I was talking to some of the pros. And I will say, I talked to pros from all over the industry, from all sides. And I'm talking big names. I promise that I'm not going to use their names for things because I want you just to take the advice based on the advice and not who the fuck it's coming from. Because some of these people, you would be like, oh yeah, that person knows what to talk about. I'm taking the advice. I think this advice, and some of it is spicy. Spicy. But a lot of them have to do with the scope and scale of everything. So I'm going to pull up this.
Actually, I'm going to go get a beer while you're doing this.
Oh, do it. I'll go solo. Go get your beer. Go. I won't even start it until you get back. So I asked a bunch of people in the industry, like, yo, what do you think is necessary for people to understand coming into game design? And I asked this question because game design is something that is a trained skill. Short of storytelling, a lot of it is a learned art form, right? Even storytelling. Some people have a natural knack, but it's a learned art form. And my question to them was, being a professional now, a pro, like a fucking person who's made it, has publications, has accolades, has learned all of the things that you should learn, right? What would you tell previous you to ask sooner? Like, what is the thing you would want someone to go, you should have fucking asked this sooner? Like you telling your younger self, yo, dumb shit, why didn't you ask this question? So I have a couple. And I recommend writing some of these down. Just because I believe they're the most important part of this talk. And you may go, well, I don't know. You guys gave us a lot of data. You told us a whole bunch of really good shit. Yeah, you're right. We did. We told you a lot of stuff. A lot. We told you everything. But these are people who are bigger than we are. They are people who have made it, that I look up to, that are friends in the industry that I think I would strive to be more like in the industry, that have done really cool shit. So one of them said, I wish I had asked for help more often from people I trust. Instead of being prideful, asking people for more help. I can't agree more. I am guilty of this all the time. all the time. I said that the first one is, I wish I had asked for help more often from people I trust. That's the first one from pros. Pride be fucking with you. In the words of Samuel L. Jackson. It will always do that. It'll always get in the way. The next one is, I wish I had asked more about the tone of a project before getting involved. Understanding project scope and publisher expectations can make or break your early career. Not wrong. I've watched so many people get burned not asking the right questions at the start of a project, where they get in and they are in over their head because they didn't ask enough out of the gate. I know I've been there. I don't know about you. And I mean, not even just in TTRPGs. I just mean in life. Like, I didn't ask enough questions about scope, and I get in and I go, oh, fuck, I got to learn a lot for this one. This was more than I thought it was going to be.
I'm in the middle of that one right now.
Ready? Then you're going to love this one. How to price and measure your time. If you don't have an agent, this is hard.
Yeah,
this was hard. This one, and I'm going to read it verbatim because I can tell this was a stream of thought from this person. And I appreciate the stream of thought. And I feel that it matches something that I would say. And it's important. And this one is, this was a big moment in RPG history about someone being done fucking wrong. It made notarized news. Ooh, I have had that. It hit notarized news, not only on like Rascal, but EN World and everything. So this is a big one. This is coming from someone who's been in the thick of it. I wish I would have known that contracts don't actually mean shit. Anyone can say anything about anyone, whether it's truth, a half-truth, or a bold-faced lie. Whether there's a handshake agreement, I know you're a lawyer, this is hilarious, an airtight contract, or a notarized document, even if you have all the receipts to prove that someone's wild-ass claim is complete trash, they can still summon you to court or mediation to prove your innocence, not theirs. And if you don't pony up the $250K to defend yourself, you end up settling. That sucks. But he follows up. The person follows up with this. So I guess I wish I would have known earlier on that the critical thing you can do is to go out of your way to treat people with respect, kindness, and always seek to reach a fair understanding and an outcome. If I work with someone and they fuck me on what they owe me, as bad as it hurts, I'll pay the invoice, say thanks, and never work with them again. That's true. Because you're holding up your end of the deal, even if that person's getting paid for it. Litigation can be very expensive depending on what it is. You know this probably better than most, dude.
It's expensive.
It's so expensive.
What it is. It's not regardless. It is, everything is expensive.
And I agree with this, though. Wholeheartedly agree with this.
But Dredrick said America, and no, it's worse in Europe. Like, if you're trying to do anything with copyright or intellectual property in Europe,
it's a different monster.
It's a nightmare. You want to do it in Asia?
You don't own anything. That's how people get things stolen and printed, and you lose your money, and there's a whole bunch of shit on that. That's a...
Where does Nintendo sue? It's not the U.S.
Dude, the fact that Pal World won is a fucking milestone.
They went back and got patents on almost everything, and Pal World just went, oh, now that you have patents, we'll switch it.
I just think it is
It's
wild.
so ridiculous.
Wild that is how shit goes, dude. It's a fuck show. It's a fuck show. And along this line of like treating people with respect and everything else, My next favorite one out of all of this comes from a very dear friend of mine that works in the industry. And the last one is at a very high level, and I'll say this one is at a very high level as well, and a veteran, like a super vet in the industry. Super vet. What are the defining characteristics of a narcissist? And what's the best way to distance yourself from them as rapidly as possible? Oh, God.
I have bad answers to this.
Some
of my exes.
Right? I talked with this person about this a little bit, and about narcissism. And ego and narcissism go hand in hand. I also think that there is levels of narcissism that every creative has, to a point. We're all doing this because we want to be noticed. Mm-hmm. To a point. We want our version out. We want our word out. We want to fight for what we think is right. If you're that kind of a creative, we think we've made something that nobody else has made. We need the idea out of our head because we can't sleep at night. Whatever it may be, there's a little bit. And I think the people who know that they have a little bit of tendencies and keep themselves in check and know that they can be worked with, those are different. But the true ones that will bury you no matter what, just to fucking level up, to climb a ladder, I hate to say this, and I'm going to because I love my industry. This industry eats its own almost more than any other industry I've worked in. And it is the narcissistic tendencies that cause people to do it, when if they were to collaborate, they'd probably be further along. And if you don't think that's true, I'm going to point to things like Satine Phoenix,
I was about to say,
Jameson Stone, and people similar to this that have ate their own to rise up in the ranks and now are not with us and should not be. I don't care what the apology is. You had enough times to apologize. But it's wild to me, the ones that will climb on the back of somebody else and try to prove they're a horrible person and do all these things that, like, no matter what the receipts say, the loudest voice wins. Find the people you can trust, man. It's fucking rare. And I would say anything you don't want repeated, don't put it in writing. Discord, text. You want to have a conversation? That's fine. Don't put that shit. We are in a screenshot world where that's the receipts.
In fact, I have never said anything bad about any other creator ever.
I have.
That you can prove.
Oh. But here's I do stand by, if I say something I don't like, it's something I will happily, someone I dislike vehemently, I will say it to you, share a beer and talk it out, because there's a good fucking chance I don't understand something. I do stand by that.
Yeah.
I don't care what the case is. I don't care how bad your case is. If you did not murder somebody or go to jail or really get prosecuted over, I'm willing to hear you over a beer. But you only get one. One beer.
Yeah. That's pretty much. Like, the few people that I would even have a problem with, it's mostly just like, I just don't like you.
Yeah, you don't have to get along.
That's really it.
But I'm not going to blacklist you.
I can already tell, like, there's certain people in this industry I will not get along with.
Yeah, the fact that we still talk is a miracle. I have a couple more. Well, actually, only two that I'm going to talk about.
Drown my sorrows.
Yeah. There's only two that I'm going to talk about. And these are, this one is from someone that I think is one of the best writers in our industry, story-wise. They have created some of the greatest mechanics that we have touched. And they simply said, this was the, like, only this person could write it this way. Just because you wrote it doesn't make it the best. Just because somebody said it is the worst doesn't make it the worst. It does not matter until your product is bought, put through trials, and at the end of the day, you're above the rest.
Yep.
I can't agree more. People can talk shit about you as much as they want, but if you go to Kickstarter and your shit is selling and people are playing it, when you go to a con, the books are in hand, and people are wearing your merch and people like what you're doing something right. You're doing something right. As long as you're not a skeezy fuck that is like faking people out, you're doing something right. You're making something that people love. And if you can touch any audience and they are wearing something that I believe, merch that you make, like, to me, that is a point of pride that, like, I made something that other people agree with me on. Hence why I definitely need to make rules are our love language for what we're doing. But this person has been around forever, man. Like, they're amazing.
Yeah, it's why I don't criticize anybody in writing.
Well,
no, because it's like they're doing something. They've got something going for them. It's not for me.
I can tell you, I have numerous times said that.
It's fine.
I will. Hey, we should talk about this in voice because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to piss somebody off.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's more because context is everything.
You and I have had this conversation about a couple people.
Yeah, context is everything, and I want context to be the merit in which I live by. Right? Like, I think that's important. The last one that I'll say, before we kind of close this stuff out, is from. Let me see if I want to do this one or this one. There's two. I'll use this one. I'll use this one. Because I think it's really good. Just because you make product doesn't make you a publisher. Just because you make product doesn't make you a publisher. This is so true in so many ways to me. I can see you don't 100% agree with this.
I want to understand the context.
I asked the same question I asked everybody else. What do you wish you were told? What question do you wish you asked earlier?
No, well, I mean, I want to understand their context for the answer.
That's all the question I asked them.
Oh, so that's all they gave you.
That's all they said back. I think it was words of wisdom more than it was answering the question. Look, here's the deal. You can put a bunch of product out.
Yeah.
I don't think that makes you a publisher. If you know how to handle teams, put together project, put together budgets, be able to put things to print, to be able to put things to digital print, platform it on more than just drive-through RPG, know how to get ISBNs, because a lot of people don't know how to bulk buy an ISBN for a product to put it out.
Yeah.
Publishing is not just the art of making the book.
Yeah.
Publishing is going through all the steps that gets it in someone else's hands.
Serving hands, yes. Publisher versus a good publisher is even more difficult.
I think it has to do with putting it in someone's hands. And if you are wanting to put it in someone's hands, you need to know how to actually publish the shit and put it out. Like, you can't empty dump this crap and be like, I'm a publisher. I put out 37 things on drive-through RPG. No, motherfucker, you're a creator that has made a lot of stuff that probably isn't all that good, or you've been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
30 products is a lot of products.
Actually, how many do I have?
If you say 30, I'm closing off this call.
No.
But like you've been in it for a while. And I also don't think that time is an estimate of value. I think there are people who come out of the box swinging on their first, second, third thing that are better than people who've been doing it for 30. 100%.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Invisible, yeah. Dude, I am the punk fan. Aren't we doing zines? Isn't this punk? 100%. For Shadowdark, zines are punk, baby. That is why Breachers looks the way it does. I believe in punk. But I think that publishing and people saying, I'm a publisher, I can publish your stuff, you can't trust those people every time.
Yeah. No,
you can't fly blind. You're going to get fucking ruined.
Well,
ruined.
I mean, we've been talking about it. It's like one of the things one of my goals for this year is learning some of that process by doing a fancy print. And it's why I'm not doing Crypt of the Child immediately, just right out the gate after the game.
It's why I'm working with Storyteller's Forge. He has print and published some gorgeous books. And I wanted to know his process for it and what Rick has done doing this and what his partner has done doing this. He's got 2 others that are involved. Like, how are you making this happen? And he brought me on board to learn other things. And I think that's my favorite projects, when you bring two people really good in their fields and put them together so they can learn from each other to make the conversation easier for the next project. Like,
oh yeah,
it's fucking amazing when that happens. Feelings may get hurt here and there, but they're never destroyed if you're there for the same purpose, to be better at your craft. So, do you have a question you would have asked early you? Like, if you, or not even asked early you, that you would have told early you to ask? Is it don't go to law school? No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I did great in law school, and I graduated and got my JD, so
I would have blown my brains out.
I get to walk around and go, I have a doctorate. But, no, the whole reason I did that was because I tore up my hand and couldn't draw anymore.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Right, like I had to reteach myself. Law school's where I retaught myself to draw.
What, permanent damage, right? It was really bad.
Yeah. These 3 fingers were scarred all the way. Like, you can kind of maybe see the scarring on them.
Are they bendable now?
Yeah, I can bend them. I can't close it all the way. Like,
but you can hold a pencil again?
Yeah.
That's good.
But I had to relearn how to do all that during law school. And it was like not being able to draw for a couple of years was the biggest detriment.
It hurt, dude. It's depressing.
Oh, dude.
Oh man.
It's why I can write both hands, though.
Oh my god. I just talked to somebody else about. There's somebody that I have talks with this about a lot. Ambidexterity being important because you never know when you're injured. Before I finish that statement, I agree, Invisible. Publishers have their stuff printed in China, shipped to different distributors. It's a big production. Yeah, it fucking is. Brian Berg from TPK Games, one of my favorite publishers that understands the system really well, worked for a large logistics group, like one of the largest, and learned logistics doing that. So, like, there's a lot of process and logistics involved in publishing. But for injuries of hands, man, I got shot in the shoulder doing work, and I never realized how much I needed my other arm to draw. Because of holding the paper and doing things. And when it's in a sleeve, you can't do anything. I had to draw using paperweights. Yep. It sucked shit as a left-handed artist.
I had to relearn how to bend my hand, for one.
Yeah.
Because it would freeze up and lock up. Like, I finished my first exams where we went out to eat and you could lift the cup out and I couldn't. My hand was still frozen in this position.
So is the answer to yourself, don't injure your hand?
Yeah.
But where was it going is my better question, because we sidetracked.
Well, no, you said don't go to law school, and I was going, yeah, but the whole reason I went is because it helped me.
It was my fault. I take the blame.
No, the first thing, I think, find someone to put your stuff in front of so they can read it and tell you yes or no, whether this is good or not, where the problems are earlier would have been, because like,
yeah,
I think I was just talking to people on the Discord about it. The only reason I'm still making stuff is because Future Wolf read Abandoned Hope and was like, here's one thing that will make this better. And that was all it took for me to go, click, 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 click.
Sometimes it just takes that one person.
It was just that one person, but also the direction he pointed me to was the direction that helped me figure out what was missing from what I was writing.
Yeah. What was it? Do you remember now?
Yeah, he said, I think you need to look up conceptual density, which is this
That's a very astute thing to say.
No shit, right?
Like, that is one of those things where, like, someone says it to you and you go, fuck, who's this person?
Well, the thing I was doing was, what the fuck is conceptual
That's what
density?
I mean, yeah. How would you explain it now after learning it?
Conceptual density is just basically the idea of how dense is, in terms of when you are writing something for an adventure, how much do you build that back in upon itself?
Can you give an example of like a well-published piece that you know of that's got a lot of it in it?
Tomb Robbers of the Crystal Frontier is got a lot of conceptual density. Nightmare Over Ragged Hollow has a lot of conceptual density. It's the things constantly refer back to other things you've already done or come across, etc. And they keep stacking those plates on top of each other.
It's like a teaching method.
You refer to it as a teaching method. They're talking, the way they're presenting it is more of, you introduce spiders here, you might as well use them again, because otherwise it's just this thing that just happened one time.
Yeah, it's the concept of callback.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more in terms of also being that teaching, also being you want more than one thing in a room. So layer the different things, make them interact in different ways, etc., etc.
I mean, the first time I learned about conceptual density was in scene writing. It actually wasn't in tabletop RPG writing. It was in scene writing. And I have a hot take that no one's gonna like. Tabletop RPG writing isn't like writing anything else. Get the fuck over it. It's not scene writing. It's not script writing. It's not novel writing. It's not technical manual writing. Unfortunately, it is taking all that shit and throwing it in a fucking blender and finding out you need to know it all and you need to know when to use it. It's fucking wild, because not only are you writing a story, you're telling a story, and people are interacting with it that aren't actors. Bitch, none of that shit works by itself.
You can't predict how they're going to respond to it.
You can't.
So you have to make it open-ended enough that it can just keep going without their interaction or not.
Do you think the idea of conceptual density was more of you learning to season the way you write because it was too vague or too little? Like, did it season things in a way that made people want more, desire more of what you're doing?
No, I think I already have a background in writing, right?
Okay. That doesn't make you a good writer, though. I'm just saying. Right.
Between law and a couple of other things.
I don't think law makes you a good writer. I think it makes you a confusing writer.
You're being an asshole. I'm okay with it. No, we write a very specific style.
I don't want to fight your demons and devils with contract law. I'm out.
No, I don't want to put them in the game because I find that tedious shit too. No, it's a very specific type of writing, but once you learn how to do one specific type of writing, it's easier to understand how to do other specific types of writing.
Oh, okay. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had previously worked at a publisher, so I had a good grasp on taste in terms of different types of style of writing. What conceptual density did was it told me how to take the disparate parts and make them feel like a whole.
Oh, okay. That's a really good way to phrase it. Really good way to phrase it. In chat, Invisible says that in board games, we keep saying that imposed tones is a wrong way to go. Imposed tones is the wrong way to go. And using that conceptual density helps the players figure out the tone by themselves. Yeah, anytime your rules, your words, can have someone draw a conclusion on their own is success. If you have to beat them over the head, and it's not a rule sheet, like a cheat sheet, that means that you haven't led them well enough. You have not made them hungry to learn what you're trying to teach. And I want people to be hungry. Like, there's a concept when telling stories in tabletop RPGs, and I think actually this one is pretty across the board, unless you're doing a pitch, where you are giving just enough information that you want the people on the other side of the conversation to ask for more. People who exposition lore dump or fucking anime monologue are failing. Like, you can't, unless it's a joke, anime monologuing doesn't actually work as a villain, because I'm going to alpha strike you with a bunch of fireballs and everything else. But getting someone who's in a setting, For example, if we just talk about your Game Jam piece, if I tell you, yeah, it's a story about a tavern that's going under because a hole opened up and they're hearing the cries of what they believe a vampiric child below, and everybody we've sent down has never came back. And they go, I'm sorry, what? Who's a vampiric child? We don't know. The only information we have is this. And then they ask another question. Now you're making dialogue.
Yeah.
If you can't make dialogue with what you're writing, if you can't make your players ask you a question about the room, the monster, the magical item, the lore, you're failing, rewrite it. Rewrite it. It's just,
because
doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, I always had a voice when it comes to writing. Like, mine is, you can tell that I wrote it very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of my writing style. But it was adding in that density that helped bring the game elements to it a lot better.
I agree with that. Actually, all of it. Even the density, I agree with. Someone, yes, dude, I like contract demons, but they're a joke in mine. Like, the way they work is fun. They're for a player to feel smart and find loopholes. That's why they're fun. And it's contract devils, not demons. Demons don't make contracts. So
they don't exist in my game because I do that shit for a living.
Mine are called
that.
Yeah. All, like in Thontia, in my setting, they're all pacted, is what I call them, because they're just evil things that do shit. So I do have mine. I had to think about this a lot. And I went through, like, I was editing a bunch of video, and I hit a gem of something that I said that I clipped and I'm going to turn into something else. But I think this is the thing I would have wanted myself to ask that I didn't learn till maybe, probably since my, like, broadcasting career for tabletop RPGs. And that's just because of the depth that I went on some stuff. I would have told myself to learn how to write and sell to a GM, because they're your real audience.
It took me a little longer.
And the reason that I say that is this, and this is proven through sales numbers. And I'm talking from doing, through being lovingly asked by Norse Foundry, TPK Games, Storytellers Forge, Level Up, Paizo, all the companies that I've, like, fucking worked with over the years, talking to them. You can write for a player, but at the end of the day, the GM is buying the book.
Yeah.
And that is your number one buyer. And then, if it's an adventure, that is for them to run for players. So if you can't talk to them in a way that alleviates the stress for a new GM, or invokes the love to run your adventure, or gives them a new way to learn, you are not creating an adventure for your audience. Because your audience, for adventures, no matter what, it is for a GM. Even if they're not running games yet, it's for a GM. Other products like Splat books and things like that are maybe table-wide, player-wide, but even then, the most frequent buyer is a GM. Because the GM is the one who usually, edge cases don't count. We're not talking about edges here. If you're an edge case, good for you. Come join my table. The thing we're talking about is people who I really want to run. For example, when Star Wars was on its 18th fucking iteration, I want to run Fantasy Flight Games. Back then we didn't know, but the Genesis system and the version of running this narrative dice-based game, nobody was going to buy that. There was 5 box sets, 80 million books. You bought it as a GM because you wanted to run it. You convince your players to run it. Right for the GM. It is your ultimate consumer. That's also why you don't own the whole market. Because the whole market doesn't buy. Sit down and count the players' handbooks at a table next time. Ask how many people read it. I guarantee not many raised their hands. They read their class. They read their spell, maybe. But a GM, good fucking chance they've read it. That's
Probably
my.
Know how it works too.
What? Yeah, what's that?
Probably know how it works too, even if they say they don't.
They may not know all the Splat books because that's for players. They're written for players.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. Is there any closing statements you have before we kind of close out the night tonight? This went longer than I thought, but it was so good.
Yeah, no, just go make games.
Make shit.
Make shit.
Yeah. I love it. Make shit and share it. Share it with people. Talk to them. Find out what's going on. Find what people love. Find the greatest new thing that people like. Stop looking at TikTok dances if you're a tabletop RPG fan and ingrain yourself in the books. And god damn it, go read the fucking core rule book.
Regardless of what your religion is, give up TikTok for Lent and go make something.
Holy shit, man. Can you repeat? Hold on. Can you repeat that?
I said, regardless of what your religion is, give up TikTok for Lent and go make something.
Fuck me. Go make a one-page dungeon. Go make a one-page monster.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're trying to tackle a one-page dungeon, just understand, it is the hardest thing to write.
Mm-hmm.
It seems so easy because it's one page. But it is the hardest thing to write. I have 5 that I'm putting in the next adventure I'm writing.
I said, and I quote, it is the burpees of tabletop RPG writing.
Yep. It is so fucking hard, though.
Yep. Or the pull, actually.
It's taken me more time to write these 5 than it has the rest of the adventure.
It's so fucking difficult.
Because it's you have to be so... Well, let me rephrase. It's so difficult to make them good.
Okay, I can make anything bad. I can piss in the snow and write my name, but I feel like reading the book and reading what's there and learning about, man, for Lent, give it up and go fucking make something. Maybe we should do a Lent game jam.
Well, I mean, Lent's already started, but next year.
Yeah, next year. As I'm saying,
down.
do a monster Lent. Because making a monster is very feasible, and I think it's also very hard.
It's 40 days. So
I think it's
would have plenty of time.
Now, let's be real. You're going to be tired of your family by day 1. Whatever that. You're going to be eating fish, hating your life. Literally, my girl just texted me. He's like, you want a fish fry? I was like, I mean, I fucking guess. Like what?
Now, Fridays, I become vegetarian. Because I don't do fucking fish.
I eat everything under the sun, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to stop during Lent. So I do dry January, and this year it was impossible to do.
Good Lord, yeah.
I did dry December, so because I wasn't dealing with anything, so it was easier.
Sober October.
I can't. Too many conventions, my friend. So anyway, before we continue going, because this will turn into us just shooting shit for fucking hours. Is there any final questions from the audience that we should answer before we leave? Does anyone have something that we didn't hit on? Did we miss it in chat? Do we miss it in scroll? Like, is there something that you want us to answer that we didn't hit in this 3-hour, well, 8:30, 9:30, 9:30, 10, 7:30, sorry, 7:30 to 8:30, 8:30, 9:30, 9:30, 10, 3-hour session.
Yeah.
Did we not hit something for you that you think we should have touched on? Like a question that makes sense? Any of that stuff? Anything?
None of you asked me about my great game.
Oh, let me just get rid of him here. No. Bats, take him away. No.
Can you make a level-less RPG? Yes, it already exists.
Oh yeah, there are numerous level-less RPGs. I'm going to list them off. I will clip this for you. Ready? Dragonbane has no levels. Shadowrun has no levels. Cyberpunk has no levels. Blades in the Dark has no levels. What else do we have here? Amber Dice doesn't have any levels. None of the vampire systems have levels. That's like 5 by themselves. Technically speaking, some of the Palladium systems don't have levels. What else is there?
Does Into the
Broomsticks.
Odd have levels?
Into the Odd does not have levels. Anything that is the Zero engine from Free League does not have levels. Anything that is the Dragonbane engine doesn't have levels. Anything that is Dread, 10 Candles, no levels. What else am I like? I could just keep going. There's so many.
I think we answered the question.
Levels come from fantasy-based narrative, usually derived from D&D, because the other side of the spectrum at the time was only war games and non-level based games. Yes, it exists.
How many dice are too many dice to have your players roll?
If the dice, to me, is a baked-in fun part of the game, the answer is none.
If it is a bucket worth that will knock over all of the miniatures on the table, it's too many.
Not if the goal is to throw them on the table, and that's a land side, and that's part of the game.
Okay, yeah. Well, that's the exception.
I think that large amounts of dice being rolled work well when it's target number based on the die. Yeah. When like you're rolling d6s and 4 is the number and you're just pulling 4s out, that works really well. Even in Mythic Bastion lands, for example, your target numbers are 4 to 7 or 8 and up because it's a gambit or a strong gambit. When you get to do things like that where you're looking for a number and math is not involved other than going 1, 2, 3, 4 successes, I think a bunch of dice are okay.
Yeah.
And I like Fireball. A lot of dice once in a while. Yeah, that's hard though. So that's math.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Fireball.
It's math. I was happy when Shadowdark pulled the numbers down a little bit for that stuff. But I think when math becomes involved, I think that's when a lot of dice become a problem. Like hard math, like really adding. Because people freeze, even if they actually know how to do it.
You know what, Serving Hands? The answer to this question is Laura Bailey amounts of dice.
No, Jesus fucking Christ.
There's too many dice to have your players roll.
We had there was a question that got asked me privately in DMs, and they're like, "Don't ask it, but get fucked. I'm gonna ask it anyway." Is it okay to have romance at the table?
Yes. If that is what your group has decided.
I can summarize this in a very concise way. Session zeros are not about lines and veils. Lines and veils are about lines and veils. Session 0 is about the game we're all about to play together and what we want as a party. If sex, drugs, and rock and roll is it because we're playing Cyberpunk, then we're going to get sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
My group, we were doing a Dead West kind of game. And the very first thing I did is they walked into town and they saw everybody out displaying the goods on the balcony going, $1, $1.
Perfection. Perfection.
It was like, you got to know what your game is.
Yeah.
It works in certain games. It doesn't work in others. I
believe that the atmosphere, I guess I'll close on this because I didn't see any other big ones. And I think you and I have talked about this. I think the study that we all did publicly on lines, veils, X cards, and systems to make new players or players who felt left out comfortable in a game came down to a very simple thing. They didn't have a home with a group of people that they felt comfortable with gaming. There are other ways to find a group that you're comfortable gaming with. The times when those things are important is public, and LARPers know this better than anything. Like, your job as a LARPer is to not freak out the guy in the establishment that you're fucking playing at, right? Like, buy your beers, go back to your table, stop fucking freaking out the guy behind the counter. You want to make sure that the table you're playing with is who you want, and know that if you're going into a convention, your skin needs to be thicker than it was at home. It has to be thicker. And if it isn't, be careful with your convention play. Go with a full party. That's it. That's it. No one's out to get you, man. Trust me, you'll know the difference. You'll know. Windows were broken today on my street. I know it was a bunch of punk kids. If you think you're playing chaotic characters, you're wrong. That's a chaotic character. Don't worry about it. Like, people aren't out to get you. And if you feel like you're out to get, just think for a minute. Maybe you're just having an emotion. But I do have one, and this is to everybody. And I have said this before, but I don't know if Kree's got to hear this. Playing with new people, playing with a people who really get in their characters, the bleed happens between character and self. If you can learn to separate character and self, bleed between those two things, and know that you are not that character, happens to actors, take a breath, walk away, take a 5. The same thing goes for all the things you write and design. Know that what you wrote is not a representation of who you are as a whole. It was an idea that you put out for people to ingest and take part in. It isn't you as a whole. It's just a part of you. It's okay if other people don't like it. We don't have to like the same things. For example, coffee is superior to tea. I love you, Nessie, but it is.
I don't even think she was here to hear that.
She wasn't, but I clipped it to send to her. That's it for us tonight, everybody. Thank you, Creed, for coming. We should probably do this more than once a year.
Sure.
We should probably talk online in front of people more than once a year to make fun things and make cool shit. I feel like we need like a 1 hour stipulation and do like a coffee beer jam on like once a month or once every other month where we're like, what did we learn today?
Totally do that.
Yeah, just
I'm
fun.
Totally down. Once a month.
Yeah, once a month, beer Friday, beer whatever, and we just shoot the shit, answer questions, and hang out with people. Stay in the wings here. I'm going to do the closing ceremonies I got to do. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
I'm just going to repeat what I said a few minutes ago. Go make shit.
Go make shit. Go make any shit.
From making shit. Then go make it better.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Stay in the wings. Everybody else. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Everything is down on the slab below. Kree's links to all the stuff he's done. Go check out the new one he did. It really is a significant piece, I think, in Shadowdark. Specifically because it proves what you can do no matter what the constraints and medium is. They went out to make something fucking awesome that was a dungeon and did it. It's something I will run at a con. And there are other things from last year's game jams that I have printed in one of these lovely folders. If you don't have them, I recommend getting them. These little ones like this, you can see they're labeled. And I put stuff on them, and I bring them with me, and I run them at cons. For the rest of you that were in the game jam, look, no matter what we said, you did good work. You did something that many people said they were going to do and didn't complete. And I don't believe in fucking excuses. I just don't. I had a horrible morning, and I'm still going to be up till 3 a.m. doing artwork. Why? Because I want it done, and I said I would do it. It's just another day of the week. For everybody else who came, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys had fun. I hope we answered your questions. If you have more questions, you know how this fucking works by now. There's comments down below. You type things away, and we answer them. Or make fun of you if it's really dumb because you say you're going to do B-Dice in a comment chat. I'm looking at UAW, even though you bake amazing breads. That's it for us, everybody. Have a great night. Stay fucking rotten, and we'll see you next time.